Hello, so welcome to this video for COMP3218 Game Design and Development at the University of Southampton. My name is Dave Millard, I'm one of the lecturers on the course, and I'm here with...
Ioan Daniel Marino, one of the demonstrators.
So we're going to have a look at a number of courseworks that the students have handed in for their second coursework. Ioan, do you want to say a little bit about what we asked them to do?
Yeah, of course. So we asked them to make a game based on a narrative game based on one of three fables and have the story be non-linear and use a story engine, which means that the story affecting the game and the game world,
Yep.
and vice versa, where the game world would affect the story.
Great. All right. Well, let's get on and have a look at our first game. Okay, so our first game is called Faceless. This game contains sequences some may find distressing.
Oh, wow.
That's an ominous start, isn't it? What is your name? Please enter when you are done. All right. I am... Oh, is it gonna... Here we go. I am Dave. Oh. The correct answer is employee 307. What is the best country? Hint, not Croatia. Press enter when you are done. It is our country. Incorrect. The correct answer was Kamarthia. What is your opinion of the current secure party government? They are great.
Yeah.
Answer submitted. Okay. Oh. All right. So I'm getting some sound effects, like a machine buzzing.
Oh, wow.
Whilst to move, left click to interact. Okay. Oh, I've come up the elevator. I heard the bong of the elevator.
Ah.
Faceless Employment Inc. Marvellous. Oh, there's me.
Huh.
I am faceless. Oh, I can hear the clacking of the keyboards. Oh, that's very nice. Left click to interact. Shall I? Is that? Oh, I can.
It does say the number on the left side of the cubicle, so that should be 307. Yeah.
So that's my. Doesn't say Dave, does it? Can I click on one of these? Okay, let's interact. Ha! Day one. Okay. Hi, boss left a note for you there. Oh, there we go. Oh, this is kind of cute. Okay. Hi there, employee 307. Good to have you on the team. This is your boss Newman writing. I think you're going to like it here. It's Facebees now, what with it being end of Q1, and we've been told to hire lots of new talent to fix all these recently freed positions. That's ominous. Just as a recap, your job is to use the computer at your desk to view profiles and decide to either reject that person's employment or recruit them using the buttons. So this sounds like a sort of papers please type structure. You should have gotten a handy dandy little flyer with our company's best practices regarding this. Okay. Oh, we're going to be keeping an eye on you via our job performance score system. You can see it above your in and out box on your computer monitor. If we think we're doing well, we'll award you with job performance score as a motivational tool. You can also take it away. Job performance may be used in future employee evaluations. Okay. Have a great day. It's mandatory. Right. Okay. So do you think that's the best practices? When recruiting for frontline work, prefer those with high athletic ability, as they will often be on their feet. When recruiting for team leader work, prefer those with leadership skills and secure party leaning. When recruiting for engineer work, prefer those with high intelligence and qualifications. Feel free to hire those with a criminal record. Do not hire those with disabilities. Do not hire Croatians.
Oh, wow.
Great. Okay. Do not under any circumstances ever reveal your position to anyone for the safety of you and others. Okay, and I presume... Well, I've got my computer. What do you think that is there? The Daily Dump, the best source for daily updates across Carpathia. Cronian relations at all-time low. Is dieting right for you? How to tell if your boss hates you. Very nice. Right, okay. Well, I guess we click on the computer to
Yeah.
to get going. Sorry. Recycle bin and application.exe. Oh, there we go. Job performance 0. Applications completed 0 of 5. Name Sam Guy. He's 25. Carmathia. No criminal convictions. Moderate athletics. No disabilities. Voting record is secure. Highest level of education is an A-star in engineering, A-star in mathematics. So do you think this person will be a good engineer? He said a good level of education.
Yeah.
I think engineer.
Yeah.
So I can
Yeah.
employ as engineer. There we go.
20. Okay.
32. Carmathia. No criminal. Low athletics. Consistent distinction in media production. Current. Oh, he's a team leader. So we bring him as a team leader then.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Right. Here's Jonathan Ferguson, Carmathian, convicted for reckless use of power tools, but high athletics, no disabilities, good voting record. Probably front line, I reckon.
He has a lot of degrees as well.
Yeah, but you know, he's got a high athletic score. Frontline worker, off he goes. Right. So I got Ben Spooner. Country of origin, United Kingdom. Oh, he's not Carmathian, is he? None. Excellent. No. Oh, he's voted for the Green Party. Oh, I don't. Yeah. Okay. All right. We can't have anyone saving the planet. Let's get rid of him. Why do I get -10? Sean, Carmathia, good. All looking good, but votes Liberal.
But has a very good education.
Yeah, I think we should reject.
Notes.
We've been told we don't want any of those filthy liberals, do we? Let's reject her. Yeah, that was the right thing to do. Okay, workload completed. Okay, we've got 90. We're doing all right. Oh, day 3. Did we miss day 2? Did I? Oh, something's ringing. Okay, I've got no idea what that is.
Are those new? Did you say something new on the papers?
That one. War's going great. Is he trustworthy? If you like eating. Very good. Same set of instructions? Yeah, I think so.
It
right.
Looks like...
Oh, it said do not hire Crodians, but I can hire other people. Okay. Right. Oh, speaking of those filthy Crodians coming in, disturbing the peace with their moderate and progressive voting records. Right. No, reject them. Don't want that person. All right. Okay. Good, honest Carmathian.
Oh,
low. Has a disability. Yeah. See, you're pushing my my modern Western values here, but I'll follow the I'll follow the menu. Reject. Carmathia, no voting record. Technically minded, engineer, I reckon. They can be taught to vote.
Yeah.
They can go to one of our education camps. Carmathia, okay. Oh dear. What do you reckon about this person?
Definitely not team leader or engineer. So
maybe frontline worker.
That I suppose.
Yeah.
That's the only.
Yeah, they seem happy with that. John Hunt. Oh, I don't like the sound of him. He sounds like the sort of person who might make a dodgy game about Carmathia. DUI, abysmal, progressive. Yeah, keep trying to write demos on computers from 2030, unsure of sanity. We'll get rid of him, I think. Doesn't look like he's good at anything. Progressive voting record. Off he goes. Right, workload complete. Right, 195. It's all going brilliantly. Day 30. Oh, right. Okay.
Ah,
Okay.
so I see. Oh, was that on the monitor? Oh,
Wow, really? Oh, I didn't spot the... My work here is doing great. Okay. They're on 149. What's this thing? To all employees, we've received a generous tip. There has been a mix-up, and a certain Charles Dickinson Miles will be one of the profiles given today. Clara, we greatly appreciate if he was not recruited for any position. Many thanks.
oh,
Newman.
interesting.
Okay, that's the daily. Charles Miles fired as Home Secretary.
Ah,
Secure party getting 50%. Here's the best way to make a chair. Oh, great. Okay, here we go. Right, this is Layla. She's not Charles Dickinson Miles, whatever his name was. Progressive voting record. Off they go. Not interested in them. Stanley Stoker. Crodia.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
Off you go. I love the way it gives you 30 for rejecting the Crodians. So, United Kingdom. Bit of a
that's
disability.
the Carol's one.
Voted Conservative. Voted Secure. Gone Progressive in their old age. That's unusual. I'm not employing them either. Oh, hang on a minute. This is Charles
That's
Dickinson Miles. Oh, we better not employ him then. 40. Right. Okay. Wire fraud. This is... Oh, I don't know. CMO. Should we go for team leader? Yeah. Let's do it. United States. No disability. Progressive, though. We keep trying to get rid of him, Paul Rudd. Okay. Let's reject. Oh, minus 20.
Oh,
No, they didn't like us rejecting him.
interesting.
Carmathian. This looks pretty good. Should we go for engineer?
Yeah. Voting record is a bit iffy, but if you want, we can try that.
Oh, I've not spotted that. Progressive voting record. Should we let them in? If they'd gone the other way, I think I'd forgiven them. But no, let's...
Oh,
minus
it did
20.
take you.
Yeah, I didn't like that. Alright, here we go. 260. Day 120. Oh, dear God. Ha! It's got the cat poster. That's great. Oh, I heard I got made redundant. Oh, God, not him too.
Oh.
I think that's what their noises are, as them talking, isn't
Yeah.
it? Right, let's have a look at this. The Daily Dump. Secure party set to win next 6 general elections. Shocking. Politician David Bruce photographed eating sandwich. Ship appears to come in the harbour. Insurance inspector sent to investigate. Little Obra Dinn reference. Right. Let's go for this. Giles Holloway. Crodian. Off you go, mate. No Crodians here. Right. Romanian? Maybe Romanian.
Maybe,
what is a maybe Romanian? Okay, secure. Okay, looks engineer. Do you think?
Yeah. I think that's
50.
Oh yeah,
they like that one. Carmathian, progressive, bricklayer. No, let's reject them.
okay.
Okay. Carmathian, no record. I'll probably engineer again.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like that one. This is good. Crodian. Nobody wants a Crodian. Reject the Crodian. Workload complete. Okay. So I'm on 400. I'm wondering what my actual choices are in this game at the moment. A guy called Tarago was asking around today. I have no idea about who you're talking about. Don't you think 308? Oh. Okay. What's going on in the world? Cronians are deported en masse. Progressive Party failing to gain traction. Francis Taraga captured, head of Cronian terrorist group. Alright, so we've got a little bit of background stuff going on. Australasius steroid loose. Extreme athletic ability. Oh, I think
that's
the frontline
easy.
worker. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Jesse, Harmathian, We used to vote secure party. I think that's good enough. Engineer.
Yeah.
Ross. Carmathia. Progressive. No. Not if they're voting progressive, I'm afraid. Josh Burgundy, Carmathia, high, secure. Oh yeah, this is good.
Engineer, it looks like.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. No. PhD in archaeology. Otherwise looks... So looks like he's employable, but what do we do with him? High athletic, so front line. Right, there we go. Trevor does an amputated left arm and votes progressive.
I think that's yeah.
Yeah, let's get rid of that person. Right. Well, turns out that being a sort of government drone is strangely straightforward. Okay.
Oh, there's something on your... Yeah, that.
It is now time for employee evaluation. Please see me in my office. Oh dear.
What was your score? 500?
557. I mean, look at all these losers. I should be fine.
Right. 557, okay.
Oh, actually, I'm just going to check I haven't got my long-lived Crodia jumper on. No, that's fine. Okay, let's go in here. Oh, there we go. Vote secure party. Love the picture. That's fantastic. Hello, welcome. How do you think you've done so far?
Very good.
Because you've done pretty good.
Right?
By pretty good, I mean astonishing. Okay. Never seen anything like it. Generally perfect work. Brilliant. Upper management has made a proposal. Alright. They're making you redundant.
No.
It's like a great loss, but they're ramping down spending. If you win a war, you don't need to spend money on it. Okay. Oh. You're switching tack, going into recruiting for the Secret Service. That's a secret, though. Okay.
I don't like the sound of this.
With ease. Simple.
No.
Okay.
Probably.
Yeah. Good luck in your future career. Oh. Okay. I guess that was the end. Like a nice end screen. Okay. Not the ending I expected. Oh, that's quite fun. Little path through.
I see.
But what were those choices? I wasn't aware of making any choices, really.
I think one of the choices was either to allow that person who they told you not to allow because of an error.
Oh, I see.
That felt like a choice.
All right, let's go in and let's not be a perfect employee. And while we're doing this,
start to mark.
Was it Carmathia?
Yes.
Carmathia.
Almost.
Yeah. Losers. That's just submitted. Oh, I love it. I think that's great. Right.
Okay.
Let's go through the first bit at least.
So the start is the quality of the game, and in this case, the presentation.
I think that the presentation of this is really very good across the board, right?
Yeah, it feels really polished.
It's very, very nicely done.
So information design.
I mean,
it feels like it's really nice to make.
It's given me, it's got my feedback. The way that these notes are kind of integrated, so the instructions are integrated into the game. The way that your score appears here as a little sign, and you can see other people's as well. The way the instructions are there as a little poster on the side. The sort of little narrative bits of information coming through. So, I mean, in terms of game state, I mean, it doesn't have an awful lot to communicate really, other than your score. But I think it's the way in which you're told what the day is. You know how time's progressing. It's the link. So the fact that you in this environment here, you've got your score on the wall. You've got it in the machine. I
think there's also some environmental storytelling.
Yes.
For example, I don't know if you noticed, but I just noticed that the picture in front of you on the desk, that one, it was on the previous playthrough. At some point, the person on the right was scribbled, and you couldn't see them anymore.
Yeah,
which was interesting.
Okay. So I think it's very nice. I mean, they're a little bit limited in what they're telling you, but again, that's kind of the whole point of the game. But it's really well integrated. I mean, what would a good be?
All key information is shown.
And an excellent.
All key information is shown clearly.
And what would a prizeworthy be?
Novel yet clear ways of showing key information.
So I think that the problem I've got is that I think I would go for the prizeworthy. Apart from the fact there isn't that much information to put across.
But what about the information when you actually pick the jobs? That's also part of the...
that's true. That's true. So this here, I mean, it's all generated nicely. I mean, it's pretty good, and the application's completed. And so I suppose, given that there isn't anything more, I think a prizeworthy mark is probably justified then. There's a lot of nice stuff going on.
I see that this like can you close it or minimize it? Okay.
What happens if I?
There's nothing, or
yeah.
I wonder if there's something in the later days.
Yeah, I wonder. Or if I scrap people, whether I can go in and have a look at them. Let's explore. So let's put that as an engineer. So we'll do our job, but we'll these have you noticed that these are all very clearly frontline worker? These are all very clearly in here, so they kind of give you some nice clear ones to go with. So the more I think about it, the more I think the prizeworthy for the information design is merited. And I would actually say exactly the same for both graphics and audio. Let's read them out and see what it says. So what's the graphics one?
So for graphics, let's say excellent would be consistent, effective, and appealing graphics. And so we're definitely at consistent, at least to me, effective as well.
Yeah, I think it's definitely excellent.
I think appealing as well, and prizeworthy would be consistent, effective, and thematically resonant graphics.
And I think that's true as well. There's lots of nice little touches, the way it's all laid out. You've got these different spaces. You've got your desk space, you've got the office space, you've got inside the computer, and all thematically works together. It's really nice. So I think I'm prizeworthy for that as well. Audio is interesting. There's not a huge amount of audio, but it's used quite well. So there's music at the beginning. You've got the tapping and the typing. You've got the sound of speaking. So it's a little bit limited, I suppose, in the amount of it. But again, that fits the game. So what would I mean? Yeah, maybe. I think maybe they'd have had to done something a bit more
For prizeworthy.
for prizeworthy. But yeah, what's the excellent for music?
Excellent would be complementary and appealing effects and music.
Yeah, so I think they're there. And what would prizeworthy be?
Sophisticated, complementary, and appealing.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's sophisticated. We do get different.
Yeah.
The music is changing as we're going through. And it's used quite cleverly, but I don't think it's kind of. I don't think it's quite up there, but it's certainly, I think, at the excellent level. It's extremely good. The presentation is wonderful across the board, I think. Excellent. Let's send them off to be a frontline worker. Better get on with this. Carmathian, voting. Let's send a couple of liberals through. Oh dear. Workload complete. That didn't go well.
So that leads us to the mechanics of the game.
Yeah. So this is interesting. So I mean, I can obviously. Charles Dickinson Miles got fired. There we go.
Oh, that's the
little bit of environmental storytelling. Oh. Okay. Seems so. Right. Yeah. So that's the same. And if I go in here, I wonder. So if I, can I minimize and see this? There's something in my recycling bin now. Is
I
there?
think that was like that
before.
as well.
Okay, let's try Crodia disturbing the peace. Let's reject them. And then I'm wondering whether the rejections go in here or something. Maybe this is just I think part of the. All right, Carmathian, legally blind, but otherwise good. Receptionist.
They do vote for secure party route. So.
Let's send them to leadership. Oh, irregular decision. Your recent choice was deemed irregular by management. Please explain your decision. They seemed nice. That's very nice. That's very nice. Okay, here we go. Carmathian, low, nuclear physics, engineer. I'm gonna pay a little less attention here. I'm gonna try and spot some of the story ones. Moderate, seeing Carmathian literature, being Carmathian student. Frontline. Off you go. Right. Carmathia, abysmal, progressive, good engineer. Oh, let's employ John this time.
Yeah.
Oh, they like John.
Interesting.
Okay. I love the cat poster hanging in there. Right. Oh. Biscuit. What? Biscuit. Do you want a biscuit? No thanks. What about you, 307? Biscuit?
Yes.
Yeah, I love a biscuit. No, I nodded. Okay, cute.
Anything, yeah.
New leader of Progress. Oh, David Bruce. Secure party gain 5%. Oh, this is a bit different. Everyone's favourite 50 books about grass.
It feels different, yeah.
Okay. Alright, let's go in. Right, noise complaints. High progressive. I'm still going to employ them anyway. Yeah, see, I think some of their Crodian. Better reject the Crodian, I guess.
Yeah.
Veronica Carmathia, wire fraud, business studies, team leader. United States, progressive. He just keeps coming back somehow. Oh, let's send it to the front line.
Yeah.
Faye, progressive. Computer science, though. Engineer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here we go. Right, so I'm waiting to Day 120. So yeah, mechanics. Oh, it's a different conversation this time, isn't it? Crony deserves to be put in its place.
Oh wow.
Okay. Charles Dixon Miles, Kirk Martinez's Badger Cam renewed for fourth season. Annex Theatre was putting on shows for the last 3 months. Very nice. Right. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's talk about the mechanics bit before I go in again. So mechanics. So what can I do? I can walk around. I can interact with my desk. I can read the papers, the daily paper and the kind of rules. To my computer, I can allocate people to one. I mean, it's one of those games where initially it feels like there's not that much mechanics, but actually there's a fair amount I can do. So I think, but I don't think it's a massively complex set. But it all kind of works. It all feels coherent. So what would good be for mechanics?
Yeah. So good would be a set of complementary mechanics.
So I think it's definitely there. What would excellent be?
Excellent would be a wide set.
I mean, you do have the different environments. So I kind of like the fact you've got the computer environment and you've got the outside environment. You're interacting with both. That's quite nice. But I'm not sure if I'd quite go as a wide set. Maybe halfway between the two. Because of those two different modalities. Controls. Controls is good actually. It's very natural. I mean, they're not particularly sophisticated. Obviously, they're what you'd expect. But I've got my little X in the middle. We didn't talk about this information design, but the fact that things I interact with go yellow is quite nice as well.
Oh yeah, that's.
Yeah, I think the controls are perfectly good and adequate for what we're doing. So yeah, what would good be?
A reasonable set of smooth, usable controls.
Okay, so I think that's definitely there. And what would excellent be?
A reasonable set of intuitive and smooth, usable controls.
Well, it's kind of intuitive, I suppose. It's kind of, again, it's kind of... It's not the kind of game where you need a lot of coordination in the controls, so it's difficult. It's perhaps difficult for them to demonstrate that. But you very naturally go in here. You're using the mouse already to look around. It all kind of works. So I think I probably I'm umming and ahhing between saying halfway there and giving them the excellent. But I think we can give them the excellent. It all works fine.
Yeah, and
you move smoothly from one space to another.
Yeah.
And bugs. I mean, I think it's a game of reasonable complexity. There's no obvious bugs, so that's definitely an excellent, isn't it?
Yeah.
What would a prizeworthy be? A more complex game?
Higher complexity. Yeah.
I think that it's a complex design, but I'm not sure it's a complex technical game.
Yeah, I suppose the complexity is behind the scenes, a lot of it.
Yeah,
and
it
the
is.
user doesn't see a lot.
But I think they're definitely at the excellent level. Right. So here we've got a Crodian. So we're still behaving in this, aren't we? So I'm going to reject the Crodian. Here we go. Romanian moderate. It's an engineer. I'm just going to fly through these. Comathian, progressive, bricklayer. Frontline. Okay. Engineering, Comathian. Engineer. And Crodian. Yeah, let's reject the Crodian. Alright. Okay. So we're back here again. Day 210.
Oh.
By the way, we're doing better than expected with the expansion plan. That's good to hear. Have they got the takeover finalised? Nearly, our boys are back on the final sprint as we speak. Excellent.
Uh,
Okay.
oh, and there's no...
Oh, where's everyone gone? Okay, I think those redundancies are coming along. Oh, wrong one, sorry. It's that one. David Bruce shot dead in an apartment. Oh yeah, you're right, scribbled out. Scribbled out that person. Right, Amlen Schwarzenlifter. Right, front line.
So that's, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, engineer. Promethean, CO, team leader. Oh, -5. I must have missed something on there. Promethean. Yeah, engineer. I think I'm doing quite well again on this run through. PhD archaeologist, adventurer. Oh,
That was
front
last
line.
time it was, yeah.
Smuggling, amputated left arm, progressive. A in
But
level
that
2 maths.
athletic is high.
Ah, it's in the front line. Oh no, don't know. Okay.
And I think now...
I love the effect of it being quiet. That's great. Right, after hours. Employer, please see me in my... So, okay, I'm not... So we didn't sort of get... We had 2 events last time, didn't we? We didn't... I don't think we got them this time.
Let's see what
happens. Oh, hello, employee 307. Welcome. How do you think you've done so far?
Okay.
Pretty good. Yeah.
Astonishing.
So are we going to get exactly the same outcome, do you think?
I never seen...
Because we didn't have a chance to... I was trying to do something subversive, but I didn't get the chance. Alright. So yeah, I think I've got the same ending. Ramping down spending. So, I mean, we need to talk about the story stuff in a minute. So it's worth saying that they've got a game notes where they explain the structure and the engine. But it feels to me like there are some sort of random elements in here as well. So I perhaps didn't get the... I didn't get the stuff about the government minister this time, for example. In fact, I didn't really have any kind of special messages or anything. It's just a very straightforward playthrough. So, does it say how it works? How the engine is working?
Let me see.
Yeah, like I said, I've got the same ending here. I think.
Let's see if it shows what the path through the game was.
Yeah. See, I got the same ending but a different path.
I see. That's interesting.
But I'm not sure why is the problem.
So, okay, what they say is that as decisions are made, the war with Crodia may improve or get worse with Camarthia, which will affect the news, daily gossip, and company policy, thus changing the game world and future choices for the player. In response to the game world changing, different narratives will play out to the player, such as special endings that occur early, changing the lives of the characters and setting a unique path for the war on Crodia, as well as both nations and their people. This also happens on a smaller scale as well, such as the best practices changing as Camarthia requires more troops at the front lines as the war worsens. That's interesting because we didn't look at them later on.
Oh, the instructions.
Yeah, apparently so they change
right
as the war progresses.
Let's have a look. I'm gonna try and be deliberately rubbish this time.
Yeah. It feels like you'll be let made redundant earlier, but yeah, let's see.
Or if I just do randomly. Boss less than 8 for you. Okay, so it's the same notes, fine. Same starting stuff, presumably. It's starting right for you. Right, let's go for it. Yeah, so it's just going to send them in random spots, maybe. Here we go.
Yeah, I suppose the first day is any person almost.
Well, I'm getting workload complete. There we go. Oh, day 3. Yeah. Ah, here we go. Charles Dickinson Miles got fired. I thought that was a rumour. Sorry for this stuff in a box. We did see that.
So frontline work,
this is the
cryoathletic, team leader, cronians, disabilities, criminal record.
Do you not have Crodian? So all that's the same. Crodian, frontline work.
Yeah.
So I hired a Crodian. Oh. Explain your decision. Random playthrough. Oops. Right. Okay.
The management would be very confused about the playthrough.
Yeah. Oh, I'm just about. Can't make it. John, as engineer. Yeah. So my job performance is. So random. If I'm just doing randomly, it's interesting that I'm getting it around 0, which is probably what you'd expect, right? Right, here we go.
Right.
So, hang on.
Oh.
What?
Oh, that's the biscuit one, I think.
Biscuit? Do you want a biscuit? Oh, well. Okay, let's have a look at this. What does it say?
So, frontline work, athletic,
it's all the same.
team leader. Prefer. Is there anything added? Yeah.
Oh.
Not.
Oh no, that was the same one.
Okay.
Ever reveal position.
And any news?
David Bruce again. Yeah. All right. So some randomness. Carmathia. Another Regulus decision.
They're from Crodia, so.
Not concentrating. Frontline
minus
work.
35. Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. Team leader.
Yeah. Try to do 0, I suppose. Yeah. Engineer. Or around.
Complete. I'm still basically doing random, and I'm still basically 0, so I think that's quite nice. 110, 120 rather. Do you think this war is useful? So it's the useful war. Is that changed?
So frontline, athletic. Okay.
That's the same.
Engineer. Okay.
Do not hire. No, it's the same again, isn't it?
For now, yeah. And the daily news?
You got a new job.
Oh, he got a new job.
Badger cam again.
Okay, that sounds...
Alright.
So that's from Crodia.
Oh, oops. Oops.
Minus 40,
okay.
Wow.
That one. Oh, it's all going a bit wrong now. Yeah. Workload complete. Another find out work. Minus 67. It's not going so well. Okay.
Are you going to be... Oh, wow.
Is this really right? What do you mean? What we're doing here, recruiting these people didn't apply or anything.
No. Oh.
Ours is not to make reply. Ours is not to reason why. Ours is but to do and die. Yeah.
It's starting to, unfold the story. Because, so you're actually recruiting people because it's a war.
Yes.
And that's why they haven't actually submitted. You're actually...
These have not...
Criminal with disabilities and cons. And now that makes sense as well, yeah.
Yeah.
And what about the daily news?
Oh yeah, I almost forgot. War is going swimmingly. Elon Musk was interested in buying Carpathia somehow. Local self-regulated Patrick's Parabox is forced to close after building has moved into itself.
Oh wow.
Nice. Arm Ladge Foot and Lifter, front line. Team leader. Engineer. Oh, see? This is going brilliantly. Oops.
Almost.
Team leader. Engineer.
Oh, 0.
0. Oh,
That's,
I couldn't have planned that better myself. Right, there we go. Tried. After hours. Here we go. So I've got to get a different ending, surely. Having done terribly.
Or just about.
Still looking the same. Vote Secure Party. Welcome. How do you think you've done so far? I think I've done absolutely averagely. Pretty good. I mean, I suppose you could have done better, but again, nobody pays attention to work here. That's pretty much where I am. I swear, Throw takes 5 coffee breaks a day. Alright. Yeah, has made a proposal. They're promoting you. Same position I do. Team leader.
Oh, wow.
Okay. I'll be in a separate branch, of course. I'm not moving anytime soon. I think they're thinking 14th Division. You can probably get some wiggle room. Okay. I know your team leader skills weren't the best, but I believe in you. Great. At least you're not an engineer. 5 degrees to fix those massive armaments. Nice, yeah. Yeah, thank you, 3A, whatever you are.
Okay, so again, I suppose because the war wasn't going as well, so it was longer, so they had to promote you, or, promote you in.
Yes. So you kind of get the reverse outcome you expect. And let's have a look at my playthrough. I do like this. This is interesting. So I've gone down the middle, which I suppose is what you'd expect. So is the right-hand side like if I do well, and the left-hand side is if I do badly, maybe? So I reckon we've got time for one more go through. And this time I'm gonna deliberately try and make terrible decisions.
Go completely.
Right, I'm also desperately I should put employee 307. I'm gonna try and spell Camarthia.
Yes, I think.
Yes. Yeah.
I wonder if that's actually.
Oh dear, they are scum. Right.
So just before you start, they do provide some explanation about the narrative, about the paths.
Yeah. Okay.
So they say the game spans across 4 to 6 days, depending on the choices made by the player. The resulting day the player receives is based on a variety of factors, such as their job performance score, the result of a choice made that day, or even from multiple days prior, and their current day, for example.
Yeah.
The player cannot cause Camarthia to almost lose the war, then suddenly perform perfect on one day, and suddenly Camarthia has won. But the player can be one day away from a special ending which requires various flags, but then avoid it and go back into a path of a default boss meeting.
Right.
So.
Okay.
I kinda wish they a lot more about it, because.
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of a possibly a problem with agency in this game, right? And we'll get to that, I think. But yeah. All right, so let's tell you what, let's
just reject everyone. Reject everyone.
Oh, you reckon reject everybody?
Yeah, so the war goes very badly.
All right.
I mean, you'll be let.
So while I'm rejecting everybody,
fired probably.
I don't know. I rejected the right person. So let's talk about the story engine. Game to story. So the choices I'm making in the game are generally... Oh, there's different bit of text this time. They make it all up this time. Most of them.
Mm.
So,
Okay.
so game to story is interesting. So this is the game, right? The game is reading these, allocating these. This is the game world actions that I'm taking.
Yes.
It's complicated because they're also the narrative actions that I'm taking.
Oh yeah.
But I'm making a decision based on these stats, right? So you can maybe separate them out that way. So in terms of the game affecting the story, I suppose if I perform well, the war goes well, right? That's basically what happens.
Feels like it.
And then I get a different ending. So it clearly is the case that my actions throughout the game influence the narrative outcome and the way in which that story is told. I've got a problem here. I'm trying to reject everybody, but
That's interesting.
it's going quite well. So what would good be for game to story?
A number of examples where the game world impacts the story in important ways.
Yes. I mean,
The game world doesn't. Yeah.
I mean, I think it does it all the way through. So there are every time I go into the computer, my interaction affects the story in a sense. I'm just checking that, but it all looks the same. I think it gets to good. What would excellent be?
Excellent. Also, it's very interesting. You're rejecting, yet you're.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. It's going down a bit. So excellent would be a consistent interplay between the game world and the story, including important parts.
So I think there is a consistent interplay, right? But the problem is it's very subtle, so it's very difficult to really see it. So I reckon halfway between the two, they're kind of they are doing it, but it feels a little bit lost in the noise, I suppose.
Yeah, and try to
yeah.
Oh, you can.
Oh, yeah, I can
look at the daily news and okay. So that's the same as before, I think.
Yeah. Oops.
What about the orange one? I think
it's the same again.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So in between good and excellent.
I think so. I think just to reflect the fact that it's happening all the time, but it's these little effects that it's very difficult to understand what the impact is. Oh. Not paying attention. Okay. I'm actually going to come out of this better than when I was doing random, I think. So let's think about the other one. So story to game world. That's a little bit more difficult to say, right? So the state of the story, how does it manifest? Does it affect the game world? Does it change the sorts of people I'm getting through, or I don't think it does.
I mean, it feels like it should, or at least it does change some of the. I suppose it feels like it's changing the game world, as in changing the things around you. Some people.
Oh, they disappear, sort of thing.
Yeah, maybe, and also, the picture in front of you, and
yeah.
Let's see now that it's negative.
Here we go.
After hours.
Here we go.
What does it say?
Still my value. Employee evaluation.
I suppose you'll be going to the battlefield, maybe promoting you to a soldier.
Here we go.
Not good.
Not done great. Not sure anyone ever has. That you get away with it. Well, random worked okay. We had empty threats.
Oh.
Well, here's the punishment. Don't say I didn't warn you. Legal disclaimer and everything.
Legal.
Oh, fired. It's always nice to take a personal interest. Okay.
Oh.
Oh dear. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, okay. It feels like that was an earlier ending, maybe.
Yeah, I think it probably was. I don't think I've had the chance to actually. The first run through, we had a chance to. We had two things that came up that were like
Oh, interesting.
special outcomes, right?
So look at this. You pretty much kind of did the same path as before,
But just deviated
but
at the end.
at the end, at the end you got a positive or a zero, which
Yeah.
sent you to the right rather
All right.
than
All
the
right.
left.
We'll carry on. I may have time to get through, and we'll try and do a really negative one if I can, though it's quite hard.
I suppose you really have to think about what you're doing, and recruiting audience in the battlefield or as a position that's engineer or something like that. So it feels like there's a lot of
right. Yeah, so I have to think about this a bit. But okay, so we've done
story to game world.
Story to game world, yeah. So you are right. So the game world does change subtly, but again, it's very subtle change. It's very subtle things, isn't it? It's not like, it's not like my computer system changes, or I get new options for what to do with people, or new applications appear on the desktop, or it's literally just little subtle markers in. I mean, they are there. Definitely there. So again, what would satisfactory be for that?
Some examples of where the story impacts the game world.
So okay, I think that's fine. So and what would good be?
Good would be a number of examples where the story impacts the game world in important ways.
So I think that's the problem. I think it's the in important ways bit, right? So I think we can say that they've hit the satisfactory. They've got places where it affects the game worlds, but it doesn't appear to be that significant. Yeah. Right. So this guy here is a car mechanic. So we're gonna
team leader.
Send him to be team leader. See, I still get positive for it. Carmathia, consistent. Well, distinction, media. Well, team leader at a pub.
Them,
so if I reject all the ones that I could employ, and I'll employ all the ones that I shouldn't employ.
Yeah.
So I can employ them, so I'll reject them. I can employ them, so I'll reject them. And I can employ them, so I will reject them as well. Right. Let's see what happens.
So for the story to game world, is it between satisfactory and good? Or?
I think it's satisfactory. I think there's a number of places, but they're not in important ways, so it's in the satisfactory level. Crodia. Right, so...
That's an engineer, feels like.
No, well, yeah, but it's a Crodia, so what's the worst thing to do with a Crodian? Team leader. Possibly.
Yeah.
Carmathian, legally blind, frontline worker. EDI, there you go. Quality, diversity and inclusion. They need to learn about it. Carmathia. So I could employ this person, right? So we'll reject them. I could employ that person, so we'll reject them. I got 20 for this. Disability progressive.
You can employ them as a frontline worker because their athletic score is abysmal.
Ah, yeah. Okay, here we go. Yeah, I think I need to be even more devious at trying to do badly. Okay, so
try to look at the daily news as well later.
Okay, I will do. So let's talk about the structure. So kind of.
You have something in front of you.
Ah, yeah. My son, Alec Mudman Jr., was rejected recently. I believe there's a mistake on your part. Oh. Okay. It was easy for Alec to say, I am the smartest person I know. Some ways with your recruitment choices. I expect a different result. So this is Alec Mudman Jr.
Okay.
Alright. Layla. So high athletic score. C in business studies at level 2. Not good in positions of power. Team leader. Crodia. Brilliant. Frontline. Oops. Crodia forever.
Yes.
Camathia, A in business studies, good public speaker. Should we reject or frontline? Moderate. Let's reject.
Yeah.
Camathia.
That's the person.
Oh yeah, we'll get rid of them. Right.
Oh no.
United States progressive major actor. He just keeps coming back somehow. Frontline worker. Camathia progressive. MSc computer science moderate.
Why quiet in speech? So maybe team leader. He's an
quite,
engineer.
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
So this is going brilliantly. Okay, here we go. So in terms of structure,
branching. So we can see that there are a lot of branching.
I've got them all over the place now. That I have found your address with much effort. Asked for your grace upon my daughter's profile to good information we received today. A good fit for your process. I vehemently disagree with your occupation. You do not hire Alethea Wright as anything. I am sorely worried for it. If you're a parent, you will surely understand. Oh, that's nice. And then we got this one. My wife has said you do not use strings to make bow ties. You'd agree with her. I expect you're clearly a moron. I just wanted him to have an exciting career like I had, but you will not allow this. Marine Corps. I was the best sniper in time. For over 300 kills, I could. Oh dear. Accordion. I know your address. So that's Mudman. So Mudman is the one we need to reject. And Alethea Wright. Okay, so look. Giles Holloway.
That's from Crodia, so we can.
Oh yeah, him. So we'll use him in the front line maybe, or team leader. Front line. Oh.
Crodia.
Crodia. Okay. So here's Alec Mudman. Cool. Once saved a bus of starving kittens from a lake of piranhas. Right, reject him. -100.
Wow, that was a lot.
Amarka Phillip, Romanian, no disabilities. I'll reject her. Who's next? Connor Hawkins. High score. Bricklayer, engineer. Camathia, none.
That's the person.
Alethea Wright.
That
can fix. Yeah. Let's reject her. Let's be nice.
Yeah.
Crodia, grievous bodily harm, secure PhD in martial arts. Team leader.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that's a very low score. It feels like it has to be a different. So for the branching point, it feels like, at least from the thing they provided, there are quite a few.
I got a box.
Oh wow! Can you look at the environment around you?
Oh.
I suppose you're
losing
the war.
Yeah, we're losing the war as cracks. So so here are the examples of it kind of fitting in, which is good. I've got all sorts of stuff going on. I've got a note. Dear clown face. I should have done this much sooner. I was being so children because it'd be nice to have a farmer whose crops were eaten by some birds. The fire I killed them. It really stayed in my brain, that one. Gave me ideas. An old friend of mine, I hope personally build you a present. I hope you enjoy it. Also, you idiots can't do it, so I'll deal with the pole brain Crodians. Eat, grit and die. Okay, so do you think that'll explode?
Yes. So you could maybe have a choice to open it or not open it.
Yeah,
Maybe.
I could just ignore it and oh, I
Oh,
can't. Oh, I
can
can't.
you?
No, I
I
can't. I
don't think
can't.
you can.
I
Okay.
can't carry on. I have to open it.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Here we go.
Yes.
Oh. Ah, all
So
right.
there is.
So there's an sort of radically alternative ending. Okay. Okay. So look. Let's think about the structure. Oh, we went all the way over there. So there's still an ending, or unless I would have got that bottom left ending. It's just not illustrated quite right. But yeah, I didn't get to the last day.
Because you were cute.
Right, I'm gonna try and do it again, but I'm trying if I'll try not to anger anybody. Let's carry on. So the
Or
structure.
you can do the same, but at the last time do recruit that person
Yes.
or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so branching points wise, as I was saying, it feels like there are quite a few, although not very apparent.
Yeah. I think this is going to come in under the choices bit, right? Because the structure is there's plenty of branching points and they're all the way through. So what would be a good
A good would be
structure?
several branching points,
Yeah. Okay.
and then excellent would be a number of branching points throughout the game. I think we have that. There's
Yeah. There's definitely stuff happening. And those choices are going on at all the stages. Right. So what am I doing here? I want to do badly. So I'm going
pretty much the same as before.
to reject that person. Low, so they can go to the front line. Reckless use of combinative. I'll reject them. Okay. Right. Yeah. So.
Do you think it's at the excellent or the branching points?
So what was what was excellent all the way? Multiple
excellent
choices.
would be a number of branching points throughout the game.
Yeah, I think it's definitely there. I think I think it's definitely at that level. Let's talk about choices because I think that's where I mean it's kind of fun to explore this. Team leader. But do I really know why I'm making these decisions? So if you think about Papers, Please, the reason that Papers, Please works, it's been a long time since I've played it now, but the reason that it works is that you're given a set of instructions that determines your score, your employee score that you're using. But then the narrative is pushing you to go the other way, right? So there are lots of prompts to say, do this for us, or there'll be trouble, or please help me, I need to get through this. And I think the problem here is I've not seen many of those. We've seen one, that one letter we got from was it the mother who said her daughter, look out for her daughter and don't recruit her. But that was the only one, right? Everything else has it just feels a bit floaty. It feels like I don't really know about the war. I mean, for all I know, the Crodians could be a bunch of absolute, so and so's who deserve everything that's coming to them. So I'm not getting the kind of the richness, the narrative background that I need in order to set this up. So and that's made it feel a little less like a narrative for me and a bit more like a toy. It's like a little narrative toy. And I'm playing around, and I am enjoying it. I mean, there's it's beautifully made and it's fun to play around with and look at the different outcomes. But perhaps I'm not as invested for that reason.
It does feel like this is the game where you have to play it more than once because the twist is at the end and then everything recontextualizes and you realize it's a war and then you start getting ideas of what to do. So in that sense, it's like a meta game where it's not just a single
Yeah,
playthrough.
yeah, and that is sort of got a Stanley Parable vibe. That reason, right?
Yeah.
Here comes Alec Mudman. I believe this is a mistake on your part. So shall I reject him again, or shall I take him this time?
I think you can reject him a few times, or at least once, and then the next time.
So I've already rejected him. Veronica. Good public speaker, moderate. What was engineer? Yeah. Alec Mudman. Here he is.
Oh, that's I reject.
So shall I reject him here and then employ him next time?
Yeah. When he's saving kittens or something.
Right, actor. He just keeps coming back somehow.
Engineer,
yeah. Very cool. Quiet speech team leader.
Yeah. Yeah. So. What do you think about the choices?
So what would a say a satisfactory be for choices?
Some interesting choices.
So I think they are. I mean, there are some interesting choices. This is her daughter's Alethea Wright. Should we recruit Alethea Wright anyway this time? And we better. So we're not gonna do Mudman.
Yeah. So
right.
we recruit.
So here's Giles Holloway. He devoted to Comathia. So
and he's Crodian. He was Crodian though.
Oh, was he? Oh no,
yeah.
I missed that. I can't go back. Right.
Oh, that's the.
Person. Right. So we'll send him to the front line, shall we? Or should we make him a team leader or an engineer? Engineer.
Team leader, maybe? Yeah, engineer.
Yeah. Oh, 100. Oh, dear. That's not done my score any good. Malcolm Phillip. Moderate. Yes, I would reject her. Connor Hawkins.
Team leader, maybe.
Regular decision. Bricklayers deserve a chance. Right, next up. Alethea Wright. Oh, this is the person we're going to reject. Oh no, we're going to accept her. We said we'd accept her. So off she goes to engineering. PhD in martial arts, frontline.
Okay.
Right, okay. So
now it should be different.
Yeah. So we said at least satisfactory. What would good be for
some interesting choices and attempts to manage player agency.
There are some interesting choices, but they're actually not that many. So it is things like what to do with Mudman and what to do with Wright. The majority of the choices, these ones aren't really that interesting because you don't have the context. What makes those ones interesting is you have the context which comes from the letters, right? Absolute units, just really good.
The human engineer.
Yeah, you're right. So I think maybe halfway between the two. I think I've got some interesting choices.
Yeah, but there's a bit more to do that we actually want.
Yeah. Oh, frontline. Oh.
And I suppose that leads us to the actual poetics of the game, which is how the story they've picked, the fable, fits into.
So they've gone for the farmer and the cranes, presumably. Words suffice not, blows must follow. Is that what they say?
I don't think they say. Let me quickly
But I mean, but it's only really that one route through that demonstrates that.
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't know. I kind of what I'm doing is I'm vetting people. That's not really got anything to do with the blows, and I mean I don't think it's. I don't think it's a problem. I don't think it goes against that, and there's definitely that little echo in that storyline we discovered, but it feels to me, I think a satisfactory is that's at the level where they just don't interfere with one another, isn't it?
I think yes. Let me quickly check. Yes, pretty
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
They don't interfere, but the key mechanics have little to do with the themes of the story.
Yeah. I think that's where we are. I think they just don't interfere. They don't really resonate. You know, what I'm doing here is I'm vetting people and trying to maximise my score. Has that really got anything to do with either the fable that they've gone with or the story itself that they're telling of this war? I'm not sure that it does, really.
That's the thing. If you ask me what story it is, I don't think I would have said.
No. I mean, maybe we're
Or
wrong.
if they-
I've just gone with that because it was in the letter.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
And
after
I don't
hours.
think they say as well.
Yeah. Okay. Well, before I wander in to see the boss. So if the poetics is at the satisfactory level, but that leaves us with techniques, which is pacing and techniques.
Yeah.
The pacing, that's quite nice. You know, you have a little start bit where you come in and you sit down and you have your training and everything, and then you have the number of days, and then you get interesting events in those days. Although not every playthrough has had interesting events, I think that's a problem. And then, you know, we get the kind of thing with the boss. The problem with the boss is that that's not really a climax. It's a denouement. It's basically you know. So the game has now ended, right? I have no more agency now. I'm going to go in and find out from the boss what's going on, right? Come on.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
So if I can go the other way, can I run away? Run away! Let me out! Floor 3. So I think the pacing is it's not terrible, but it's maybe a little bit flatter than they think it is, because I haven't got any kind of major decisions to make at the end. So what would satisfactory be for pacing?
Some ascending pacing.
I think that might be where it is. There's no real final climax. The pacing, you know, because you get the events as you go through the days. So yes, I think it's probably there. The techniques, on the other hand, I think are really good. So the way they tell the story, this little environment you explore, the letters that come up, the environmental storytelling cues we've talked about, the little cues in the records, they're all really good. So there's multiple ways of getting across narrative content, and they've done a really nice job. So I mean, what would be excellent for
excellent
techniques?
would be appropriate and consistent use of more than one game writing technique.
So I think they're there, right?
Yeah.
And what would praiseworthy be?
So that's sophisticated and novel use of several game writing techniques.
Yeah.
And
So,
that's.
I mean, it's fairly novel. I mean, it's any one of them we've seen in other things, right? But they're really nicely integrated. I maybe put them halfway between the two.
Yeah.
I think just to say, look, we've seen these techniques before used together in this way, but it's a really nice execution of it. And that takes us to feedback.
Feedback.
Yeah, what did they say for feedback? I'm going to explore this office a bit. Well, I wonder if there's anything I can.
Yeah. So they say
I've got a face.
That.
Oh, that's interesting. See, I wondered why these mirrors were here, because I've got a negative score. So I've been. So I'm no longer faceless.
Oh wow, that's
very
nice.
cute. Again, storytelling techniques.
Yeah.
Very cute.
So we received feedback from other students, such as making speech physically clearer, changing position. Yeah, so it's pretty much about the design of things.
Yeah.
And redesigning the application interface to have a more consistent look. And that it is a government application with the red stripes of the secure part. Other feedback contained our lack of music across the game, only choosing to use dramatic music in the intro scene.
Yeah.
We realized soon into development that with the story that plays out in the Codian War, this game is tense and touches on sensitive subjects. We chose to play into that by the only sound in the game being the ambient background noise of rain and the other employees' keyboards.
Yeah.
And only music which plays in places which plays into the feel of the game, which is the opening scene. There was additional feedback such as fixing the player head when moving the cursor. So the way they've talked about it, it doesn't sound like the feedback is from the lecturers or from us.
No, sounds like they've got feedback from friends. What was the first thing they said again?
Well, we received feedback from other students, such as making speech physically clear to the player, changing positions of notes every day so that the player doesn't skip them. And
yeah, it sounds like they've not got that kind of deeper feedback perhaps they needed. Okay, but I mean, it does sound like they've got some feedback and they've acted on that feedback, and you know, there's been some moderate success there. So, what would satisfactory be for feedback?
Feedback was addressed and the changes have been somewhat successful.
And what would pass be?
Feedback was addressed, but the changes have limited success.
I think
the thing is, what changes they've said do work, and I
mean, they're not that significant changes. That's the problem. But they've clearly done some stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe halfway between pass and satisfactory.
Yeah.
But they haven't. Yeah. So this is the guy telling me I've done badly. Yeah. You're being fired effective immediately. I'm still wondering if I'm going to get the one off to the left. So I mean, this is a kind of a really interesting game. I love the presentation of it. I think it's beautifully put together. I think the way that the story is told is great. I just feel like that the interactivity of the story could be a bit more, and the player's agency and investment could be a bit more significant. But really, really, really good job. And we've been playing it for ages.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that's it. I think I got the same ending as I did the other time. Let's see.
Yeah, it's quite hard to get.
Yeah.
Which one is it?
Yeah, same one. Despite the fact
Yeah.
I tried my best. All right. I think we ought to move on to our next game.
Yeah.
Okay, so our next game is called The Bear Hunters. Let's see what it's like. The Bear Hunters, start game, endings found.
Oh, and
endings
that's
found.
nice.
I like that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Okay, I quite like that.
Yeah.
I like it when you can see the alternative endings. Right, entering the forest. Some nice music. You enter the woods. Your friend Jim follows close behind. You've travelled these woods before. Should be a good hunt. Jim, so you ready? Yeah, I guess. Bear tracks. Okay. Well, so that's going to be a good day either way. I can feel it. Might even get a big one. I reckon it's time we stepped up. I've seen enough dead deers already. Got a big space on my wall I could do with filling. Big bear head there. Look good, I reckon. You're being awful quiet. Too scared, are you? Jim laughs. Okay. Upgraded. I don't quite understand the reference, but let's do it. Bear tracks. We need a clearing. You see two paths leading out the clearing and a set of tracks going along one. These are bear tracks. We're going on a bear hunt. Going to be a big one. I told you today it'd be a good day. This is it, our chance. You've got to take it. Right. If you're further away from it, we would have the high ground. Right, take straight to it. Okay. Let Jim decide. No, I don't think so. Let's go to the high ground, get a nice clear shot. Here we go. The high ground. This hill is steep, but you both climb it quickly. It's a clear day and you can see for miles. You see some movement. It's not clear what it is, but Jim already thinks it's the bear. Shoot it, Jim. Shoot it. It's got to be. We're still a bit far out, though. What do you think the best move is? What do we know about Jim? Do we think Jim's good at shooting? Should we confirm it to bear?
Maybe that.
Oh, I can't shoot at it. I've got to confirm it's... let's carry on. Let's get a bit closer. High ground. You quickly move to a clearer area close to where you think the bear is. Right. You're close. You stop to see if you can get a clear view, and then... Bear! Oh no, you see it. There it is. My God. We could hit it from there, I reckon. Alright, shoot it then. Eyeing up the target. They like building up the suspense, don't they? So, slightly frustrating me, my left click doesn't speed up the text. That would have been nice. Right, you've got this right. You nod. Okay, you got this. Yep, alright. Just let's... Here goes nothing. It's a bear. Shoot the bear. Aim for a body shot.
Oh, wow.
Let's shoot it in the head. Seems the seems like the nicer thing to do. Big aim on the head. You aim. You shoot. Oh, yeah.
You don't hit.
And there's a shot. You miss.
You miss. Yeah. Expect.
Bear is alerted and hurries away. Unlucky. It's gone north though. Can't move too fast. We could catch him, I reckon. What are you thinking? Yeah, go on then. Search of the bear. You must be close. I'm a little bit worried that this is just an interactive narrative, and not a game. But I'll reserve judgment. I'm hoping if at some point we'll get some ludic elements. It might be tricky though. We might be seen. Let's move closer. Okay. Move slowly, cautiously. Right, I think we shoot from here. Okay, Jim. Take the shot.
Taking the shot.
You take position. Hold steady. You aim.
Oh no.
You shoot. Oh, the suspense is literally killing me. You miss.
No.
Right, I'm going to let Jim do it for now because I'm clearly completely incompetent. You see its eyes meet yours. Launch towards you, gaining speed. Oh, this should make it easy to hit. This is good.
Fight or flight?
Jim, why are you screaming, Jim? You've got a rifle. To run or to fight? Right.
Well,
Wait. You must act. Is this where Jim abandons us? Is this the I forgot what the story is, but the one where we're what's it called? The Bear and the Two Travellers. Misfortune tests the sincerity of friends, right? Fight. Go for it. You and Jim stand your ground. Go on, Jim. I knew you had it in you. Bravely standing there with your rifle.
I'm sure he's going to run now.
You must have... Right. Oh. What do you think, Johan? There's a massive bear charging at me. I have a rifle, one of the most advanced weapons ever devised by mankind, explicitly devised for killing large animals. Or I could go for my knife. Which should I go for, do you think?
Take the shot.
I think I will. Yeah, I killed a bear. I need 2 or 3. Right. There we go.
So it looks like that's the game.
I think it is. Let's the not being able to click through is going to be a shame. But all right, let's go for it. As ready as I'll ever be. That looks like a little bit of a false choice at the beginning there. Have they got like a diagram and a graph in there a note?
Not really.
Oh, that's a shame, because this looks like it would be a perfect.
They do mention that, for example, that false choice you did is not actually false, or it's the choice that makes your confidence score higher, so you have a higher chance to shoot the bear.
Okay. So they are measuring some things behind the scenes. Let's go hunting deer. Deer won't rip my face off. Oh. Okay. So let's try and follow the bear this time. Let's forget about the high ground. Yeah.
Yeah, it would have been really.
You better not bail now. You're the one who screamed like a little girl, Jim. That's right. Shall we go home? I just give up. Let's go straight to the bear. You must be close. Must be a big one. And then
until you see the bear.
Bear.
Yes.
I kind of feel that the way they're doing this text, where it's coming on line by line, I want more. They're not using the medium. I want a giant picture of a bear. I want the noise of the bear. I want kind of, give me some animations or something. It's the text is a very straightforward way of telling the story. Let's go closer. I'm basically going to walk up the bear's rear at the moment and then see what happens. There we go. We shoot from here. No, Jim. I think we'll move closer. I want to see the whites of its eyes. Do bears have whites in their eyes? I don't know if they do. I kind of do want to move closer.
This.
Yeah. Shh, Jim, the bear will hear us. It's right there.
Oh wow.
Okay. I want to touch the bear.
Wow, how can you get so
It's
close?
mesmerizingly close. Yeah. Good. It's moving even closer. Ride the bear. Let's do it. Oh dear.
Oh no.
The bear's noticed
like
us because we bumped into it.
It feels like, the bear would be more scared than. Or, like I would be scared if I suddenly see someone behind me. If I didn't realize anything.
What should we do? Should we run away or should we fight? I'm going to fight it with a knife. I want to see.
Yes.
I've always wanted to. Oh, you have bad friends. Jim let you die.
Oh.
Thanks, Jim. Oh, I didn't get my knife fight. Oh no. Right, I'll try and do something else again, and we'll start making our way through the criteria. Yeah. So I guess first up is presentation, information design, and graphics and audio. Information design. There's not really any. I guess we've got the endings. How many endings there are, and we've got 0-6 endings. Otherwise, that's it, isn't it? Is there anything else?
I don't think so.
I haven't got. I mean, another way you can bring ludic elements into these kinds of things is by bringing in some things like RPG elements, like stats or equipment. Right.
Yeah.
So this is what 80 Days does. The Inkle game 80 Days, which otherwise is an interactive narrative, but they have things where you kind of you buy items or you pick up items and you have a limited amount of space in your inventory, and depending on what items you have, that may open up or close off particular routes to you, because you're trying to get around the world in 80 days, right? So you can have those ludic elements that come in when you have a digital system, and they really enrich what otherwise. I mean, you this could be a choose your own adventure book, right? and those are the things that then require some kind of information design. So what made me think of that was thinking, do I have a certain number of bullets or a certain number of shots, right?
Yeah.
What do I know about myself and Jim as marksmen? Are we any good? Are we, all that kind of stuff. So all of that's kind of missing. I'd be interested to see whether the criteria can deal with the fact that there isn't any information to show. What would a pass be?
Some attempt at information design.
Let's go home. You went home. Congratulations. Question mark. Right. So how many? So I've got. I like the little bear icons. They're quite cute.
Yeah.
Right. Let's try again. So sorry. What was the pass for information design?
Some attempt at the information design.
Right.
And
yeah.
A poor would be information design is not sufficient.
See, there is absent, right?
Yeah, no serious attempt
at information design. It's a little difficult because there isn't any information to show.
Yeah.
But I kind of feel. I'm going to be quite interested to see what their feedback was, because I think that if you're going to go for like an interactive narrative like this, then as for this coursework where we're asking for a narrative game, you must have some kind of ludic element to it, right? And they could have added something. They could have added it to do with even just having some kind of visibility of the stats, right? So if they're monitoring stuff like your confidence behind the scenes, right? Or things like the bear's awareness of you, or just showing those on the screen would then make this more game-like, because your choices aren't just narrative choices; they are narrative and ludic choices, right? I could do this, and I can see that it would. Maybe I can do this, and I think it would. It's got a chance of improving my, my confidence, or, maybe I can run out of ammo, or I need to pick up a weapon, or I can do. There are all sorts of things that you could incorporate, but without that, it's really difficult. I think the information design isn't quite absent, right? We've got a little bit of stuff there about the number of endings and which ones we found.
That's true, yeah.
So, what would a poor be again?
Information design is not sufficient, which I suppose the way you talked about it, that's pretty much it.
I think it has to be, yeah.
It's not sufficient, but it could be there.
Yeah, I think it's there. So, graphics.
That's also interesting.
I mean, we're talking about the presentation, really.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got a decent font. I've got the buttons I can click on. It's all clearly laid out.
And
I've got the menu, the different endings.
Yeah.
So some of the stuff's there, but on the other hand, it's very thin. It's not taking advantage of the medium. Again, what would a pass be for graphics?
Pass would be consistent but poorly chosen graphics.
And what would a poor be?
Inconsistent graphics.
And presumably absent means little or
inconsistent and poorly chosen graphics.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tricky. I mean, the problem is it's not inconsistent because there isn't any graphics for it to be inconsistent with.
Yeah.
I think we have to go with somewhere around the poor level. It's not absent. I mean, there's stuff, and the description for poor doesn't quite match because it's talking about inconsistency. But I would think that the poorly chosen has to include choosing not to have any, right? They just should have gone for some more visual elements, I think.
Yeah.
Audio, on the other hand, is okay. I've got a tune going on in my ears. when I think when I take the shot, I get a shot. It's only one sound effect in the whole game, I think. But it is there. So what would a satisfactory be for audio?
So some audio effects and music.
And what would a pass be?
A pass would be some audio effects or music. So I think the way you talk about it, it sounds like you have audio effects and music. So
well, we have one audio effect.
Yeah.
I'm going to let Jim decide.
Well, one that we've heard so far, maybe there's something more.
Yeah. I think for now, maybe put it halfway between the two to represent the fact that they've got one audio effect. So, okay, meaningful play. Again, I think they're going to struggle here. Mechanics. I can click on one of several choices, and that's it. So that's very few. Again, what would a pass be?
A set of inconsistent mechanics.
So there's not a set of mechanics, consistent or not. So what about
poor?
Yeah.
That would be few mechanics.
And what would absent be?
Very limited mechanics.
I mean, yeah, it's about it's about as limited as you can get, isn't it? I mean, it's tricky. So what am I missing anything? So I can click on these choices here.
Yeah.
And I've got the menu, I suppose. And that's it, isn't it?
Yeah. Although the menu wouldn't really be part of the mechanics, it looks like.
Well, not really. I mean, again, you know, if you went with the inventory, for example, just literally that, right? Then you have a mechanic where you had to choose what to pick, and you were packing your bag or whatever, right? Or if you were managing your stats directly, that would be a resource management mechanic. Yeah, I think it's probably absent. I think I'm trying to justify lifting it up a little bit, but I just don't. I think it's you couldn't have anything less.
Yeah.
And controls. I think down around the kind of poor absent is a lack of controls, or
so it's poor would be limited or difficult controls, and I don't think they're difficult, but
they're very limited.
The mouse and
on the other hand, you know, I can choose easily enough. It's fine.
That's.
So I think we go with the poor. Now bugs, there aren't any bugs that I've seen. A little bit of a jitter earlier on actually when I chose Jim to do something, but go on Jim, take this shot. But there's not really any bugs. But so I think the problem here is not it's all down to the complexity of the game. So what would a pass be?
Game is simple, or there are serious bugs. So it's not that there are bugs, but the game is...
Yeah, but I still think it's a pass. I mean, it works. It's playable. It's simple, but it's there. Oh, we're just talking about bugs. Has this died?
Oh.
I think we've just hit a game-breaking bug.
That's perfect timing. Wow.
Yeah. Or not perfect timing, I guess.
I mean, yeah.
So okay. So I think that knocks it down to a poor.
Which is game is very simple, or serious bugs make it almost unplayable.
So I think the game is simple, but we've got some bugs. So I think it's fine at that level. Okay, that's a shame. Let me restart it. Okay, so that takes us on to the story engine. And again, we've got a real problem here because this whole story engine section is about the relationship between the game and the narrative, and here there is no game, there is no ludic part, right?
So interestingly enough, they do. The only thing they've written in the PDF that they've sent is about the story engine.
Yeah.
And they've answered the two questions: how does the narrative impact the game world, and the game world impact the narrative?
What do they say?
So, about the first one, how does the story impact the game world? So, the narrative impacts the game world through the player's relationship with Jim. The likelihood of Jim staying with the player or saving the player depends on the previous interactions in the story. The player's friendship with Jim is hidden in numerical score calculated by being a good friend to him. For example, letting him shoot the bear or listening to him in the dialogue. This friendship score decides whether Jim stays with the player after they get attacked by the bear, and if he saves the player upon being attacked. The player's chance of hitting the bear with the gun is also affected by the narrative through a confidence stat. Which is if you are more confident, you have a higher chance of hitting the bear. That's what they said about the narrative.
So their argument is that the
game world is
the set of variables that they're monitoring behind the scenes is the game world.
Yeah.
I can understand that, but the problem is, to be a game world, it has to be something that you see and interact with non-narratively, I think. So that's why I think something like an inventory, where you have to arrange an inventory and there's a kind of like a puzzle about how you store things, right? Or even just making those transparent so that you can see your level of friendship with Jim and you kind of know where it's going, and that then informs your decisions that you make. Those are things that then suddenly become a kind of a game world, if you like. That without them, they're essentially part of the narrative engine. What you'd normally expect is you'd expect those variables to be there, and you'd expect them to be able to be altered by narrative decisions you made. But then you would also say, in the game world, you can make decisions which would also affect those variables, right? So I think you could argue that they're an interface potentially between the game world and the story world, but they're not the game world, I think. Okay, so look, game world to story.
Game world to story. They also say another thing. So how does the game world impact the narrative? The game world affects the narrative through the different paths chosen to take. Each path has different probabilities of the bear seeing the hunters and attacking them, and hitting the bear when shooting it with a gun.
So, but again, they're talking about they're talking about the narrative world again. Oh, we
yeah,
shot the bear.
Exactly. Oh wow!
Right. We just followed the bear and shot him. Okay, you killed the bear. Not the most exciting story, but I can see that. Return to main endings found. Oh yes, we got victory.
Ah.
Yeah. Okay, let's try and tackle this. So, what would pass be for game world to story? Game to story.
Game world to story would be a few sparse or minor examples of where the game world impacts the story.
So there aren't any. What would absent be?
A story premise, but no serious attempt at integrating the game with the story.
Yeah, or in this case, no ludic elements. I think it's an absent. I think there's a story premise, definitely. And they've attempted to set up a kind of it's not really a narrative puzzle, but it's potentially could have been. So yeah, I think it's absent.
Yeah.
And story to game world again. What would a pass be?
Again, a few sparse or minor examples of where the story impacts the game world.
So again, there isn't really any game world.
Yeah. So
I think that's absent as well. Unfortunately. I'm going to be interested to see what they say for feedback, because I'm guessing if they'd have got feedback on this, their feedback would have been you need to incorporate some ludic elements because without them, all of this stuff is gonna fail. I think
You'll be very disappointed to know that they don't have any feedback.
nothing at all. All right, okay.
Added it.
Well, that might be why, because they would have got a very strong steer to say, look, you because obviously we get people who want to do narrative games like this all the time, right?
Pretty well.
And you can make them work really well, but you have to put in those elements. You have to put in some kind of game mechanics in there. Otherwise, it is not a narrative game. It simply becomes an interactive fiction. And there's nothing wrong with interactive fictions. They're perfectly interesting, right? But that's not what we asked for. That's the problem. Okay, I think they might do a bit better on the agency front, because that's talking about the choices within the narrative space, and they do have choices within the narrative space. So, for example, on structure, it feels to me that they've got actually quite a sophisticated structure where, I've got multiple choices. They've got deferred choices. There's things where like my interactions with Jim are altering a variable, which then changes what's happening later on. They've got multiple endings. They've got multiple routes. They've The only thing I would say is that they perhaps haven't. They've got some sort of short versions through the story which aren't very interesting, right? Like if I click go home, for example.
Yeah.
But I mean, what would a good be for structure?
A good would be several branching points.
So I think we've got several branching points, definitely. And what would that was good, was it? Several branching.
Yeah.
And what would excellent be?
A number of branching points throughout the game.
Yeah. Well, I think we've got that, haven't we? A number of branching points throughout the game. We've got
feels like that.
Yeah. I think it's excellent. I think the structure is actually pretty good.
And what about the choices?
So choices. So this is about whether they're interesting choices or not. So
it's not. Yeah. So the thing is, I don't think they're like calculations. So that's good. You don't really...
Yeah. It's not like they're telling me exactly, but at the same time, I'm lacking a kind of. There needs to be. They also shouldn't be just blind, right?
Yeah.
So why? So things. So for example, what's my relationship with Jim? Why might I trust him? Why might I be worried about his ability to shoot a bear, or think that he ought to be given the option, right? This would be a much more interesting story, right? If instead of Jim being my friend, and maybe he's not, if Jim was my son, and he's not very confident, right? But he's very new. So then I've got to make some difficult decisions about, well, do I trust him or not? Right? If I don't trust him, that doesn't do anything with his confidence. But if I do trust him and then he misses, right, we've lost the bear, and in fact he might get into danger, and now there's a tension, and all of a sudden the choice is interesting, right? I mean, it doesn't have to be my son. It could be a friend with exactly the same thing, maybe a friend who's going through a difficult patch, and we've gone on a hunting trip together to sort things out. So
yeah.
So when it comes to the choices bit, the actual story becomes important. And I just feel that they've not done much groundwork here. It's very functional, right? Do you come to a fork in the path? Do you go left or right? Do you want to get closer to the bear or not? Do you want to there's the narrative elements which are about the relationship with Jim, right, and what we're trying to do, or even the morality of what we're trying to do, right? So maybe I'm having second thoughts about shooting this bear. Right. So I just so all of that's kind of missing, and it's quite perfunctory. So okay, where were we with choices? So what would be satisfactory for choices?
That would be some interesting choices.
So I think it's probably there, because I've got a goal and I'm trying to make a decision. And like you said, they're not calculations. So I think it is probably at the satisfactory level. But what would good be?
Some interesting choices and attempts to manage player agency.
So I'm not so sure about the interesting choices. I do think though that with their structure they have some attempts to manage agency, right? Because I can kind of change my mind and go back on where I was, and there's definitely a few places where I've got to the same point of the story from different places. So I reckon halfway between satisfactory and good to kind of represent that there's not that many interesting choices, but there is definitely an attempt to manage the agency. And that gets us back into poetics. Again, this is going to be a bit problematic because this is to do with how well the mechanics of the game, what I'm doing, echo the story. And the mechanics of the game are purely navigating the narrative, right, and finding your way through. So the only stories that really resonate with that would be in that sort of space. Whereas what they're doing here is, I presume, the whole misfortune and friends moral. Misfortune tests your friendships. So I don't think that they conflict, but I don't think they support each other. So I think that's probably at the satisfactory level, isn't it?
So satisfactory would be narrative and gameplay do not interfere with one another, but the key mechanics have little to do with the themes of the story. I
think it's there. Now, pacing and techniques. So in terms of pacing, obviously we get closer to the bear, so there's some kind of sense of pacing, but there's not that much kind of in terms of interesting narrative events that happen that kind of build up the tension. You'd expect there to be more interesting scenes with the bear, like maybe there's some people picnicking, right? And I suddenly noticed the bear getting close to them, or maybe the bear goes back to its den, and I realised that the bear has a bear cub, right? So these are the things that would up the dramatic tension. So although there is something there because I'm getting closer, there's none of that stuff that lifts it. So it feels fairly flat, I think. What would satisfactory be?
Satisfactory is some ascending pacing.
I think it's probably there, right? Because you get that little bit of thing of getting closer and closer.
Yeah, there is definitely that.
I want to have a knife fight with a bear.
So what about the techniques?
Yeah. What do you think? What have we got? There's one technique, which is the text. That's it, isn't it?
I think yes.
Right. So what would satisfactory be for techniques?
Satisfactory would be use of at least one game writing technique.
Yeah, there we go. I think we're there, aren't we?
I think so, yeah.
And unfortunately, we've already kind of done the feedback. Yeah. Because you said there wasn't any.
Absent, sadly.
So, yeah, that's going to be absent.
Yeah.
It's a shame. Let's go for the knife. I'm guessing this ends badly. Stab it in the shoulder. You turn to look at Jim. He's going to aim straight at the bear's head. He shoots. See, he had the sense to use it. You stand over the bear to admire it. Oh dear. There we go. You killed the bear. Yeah. Okay. So, all right. So I think what we have got here is a. Actually, I quite like the framing of this, and they got all the work and the interactions and the with the choices and also the routes through. All that was good. But the problem was, without the game, without the kind of ludic aspects to it, it just couldn't hit any of the things we were looking for from a narrative game. So I think it's a real shame that they didn't get feedback and they weren't able to incorporate that in the game. So I think they could have done, and it would have really lifted it. Okay, let's have a look at our next game. Okay, so our next game is slightly unusual. So we had a few difficulties getting it to work, but we managed to get it to build in the Unity editor, and we've spoken to the students, so we've got an idea of some of the controls because they weren't clear. But we'll get it to run now. But it doesn't have a name, so let's just call it Untitled Platformer, and see where we get to. Aha. So, oh no, you're dead. So if I click, so the continue button doesn't work. I've got no other instructions on the screen. So this is what was causing us a problem. But apparently, if I press R, it will move on the dialogue. So there we go. Why did they have to take you? You had a long life ahead of you, sobs. Is it flashing up, press R, when I press R? I think it might have been. Yeah, press R. There you are. So press R comes along too late, but there you are. Hey, it's me. What? How is an animal speaking to me? It's me, Jack. No, Jack is dead in front of me. Look, I don't have much time. The thing that killed me is at the top of the mountain. If you get to the top, you can save me, and I can go back to normal. How is that even possible? It's an evil, magical sprite. It's a long story. Yeah. And off we go. Alright, so now we get some instructions. So WAS to move, space to jump, hold space jump higher, R to interact, left mouse button to attack, which is a bit strange. Oh, there we go. So here I am with my friend. There's my... Alright, so nice little animations. A little bit... So Foxy is pixely. The background is pixely. I'm not pixely. Hearts are very pixely. So there's some odd stuff going on. So that's my jump. I got a floaty jump. I'm not sure if hold space jump higher. So here we go. I'm going to tap space. Hold space. Oh yes, I do go higher.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, let's have a look. Oh my life! I did fall off the edge. So yeah, that's a bit. Yeah. Okay. I wonder whether the screen ratio thing going on here.
It feels like it because when we tested in the editor, it was all right, and you could see the both ends.
Yeah. Okay. Oh look, a bunny. Ah, why is it attacking me? Ah. Oop.
Does R do anything or?
No, R doesn't do anything. But I can still move.
Oh, so... your life is going down.
So okay. So
too hard,
oh look, a bunny. Why is it attacking me? Okay, so we've got some interesting problems here. We've got the dialogue box doesn't care about whether the bunny's actually dead or not. The continue button still doesn't work. And okay, all right. So little bit of a crikey. There we go. So more bunnies. So I'm not quite sure. What's the big circle thing above his head? Oh, there's a key down there.
Oh yeah, so I have no idea.
We can pick the key up. Oh, I just fall. Oh my life! and I fall off the edge there. All right, so I fall off the edge of that one. What happens if I go through this one then? There we go. Press R. Thanks for the key. Okay. So I suspect that I should have come and spoken to him and then gone back and got the key, but I just got the key anyway. What's this circle thing above the bunny, do you think?
No idea.
I thought it might be a health bar, but it doesn't change, does it?
Maybe.
No, it disappears. Alright. Thanks for the key. Great. Can we press R. Hello. Could you help me with something? I'm guessing that this is the dialogue I would have got. I seem to have lost my keys, and now I can't get into my house. Could you find it for me, please? It's an act of supreme laziness, isn't it? Right. Would you like to gain the cast ability? Press Q if you want the cast ability. Q. Hang on. Do I face the Q? Oh, there's a fireball.
Oh.
All right. That's good. Oh, I fell to my death again. Right, Q. Yeah, look at that. I'm unstoppable. Ah. Oh my life. Get off me. Oh no. Right, am I back? Oh. Right, if I jump.
Very high.
Oh man. I'm just going to run away. Run away! Brave Sir Robin. Right. Press R. Hello. Could you help me with something? What do you want?
Why not?
I seem to have lost my key. Not you as well. It's like a whole rash of this going round, isn't there? Can't get into my house. Well, was there a key back here? Did I run past it?
It was on the
go away, you horrible whatever you are. Eagle? I hate it when I know nothing worse than being swooped on by eagles. Oh, can I jump? No, I can't jump through there. Can I jump through there? Oh, the controls are... The problem was I keep pressing W to jump.
And
because my attack buttons are up there as well. Q is up there, look. So, thank you. No problem. Thank you for helping me. I assume you've met my younger brother. Yeah, I have. He lost his keys as well. He took me away from you. Did he? Did he tell me that?
Maybe we did.
Brother. They're all brother. Perhaps I should have pressed the R button. There are only 3 of us. My younger brother is innocent. It's the rate of text thing here is first of all, it's slightly annoying. Second of all, it causes me to read this out like this person has an IQ of about 60. My younger brother is innocent. It's the older one you need to be wary of. Right, brother. There are only... All right, let's assume you know the story. Would you like to acquire the strike ability? Yes. Take the ability. Take it. Sorry, I don't know what happened there. The monster at the top must be taking over. Hurry, get to the top. What? E to acquire the strike ability. What is E? Alright. E doesn't do anything? E? Oh my goodness. Right, E. Fireball, fireball, fireball. E. E has no effect. Oh, I took more damage again.
Oh.
At least when I die, I don't go back to the start of the game. Fireballs. They're very flame resistant, these bears. Oh my... Okay.
Last key.
There we go. It's that jump being down there is just... I've got to have my finger on the mouse as well, because the left...
Yes, yeah.
So I'm trying to do everything with one hand. Oh, come here. Oh. Okay, here we go. Right. Did you say you've got to watch out for my third brother or something?
Yeah, be wary of him.
Oh, blimey. There he is. He does look a bit be wary of. Oh, my key. Thank you very much. Now get out of my sight before I skin you alive. Okay, he doesn't really do anything. So he's just mean. Would you like the defense ability? Press right mouse button to acquire the... Take it, more. Right, that just... Oh, hang on. Yeah, there we go.
Oh, it does work, yeah.
So the E doesn't do anything. The fireballs work. Defense ability works. Okay. Defense ability. What do you think that does? Anything?
Maybe.
Doesn't seem to have any effect whether I kill them or not, so I'm going to carry on. Shoot the fireballs. This one's got a pink head. Stop mobbing me. Get off. Oh, for goodness sake.
Yeah,
it's just easier just to go for it, I think. Aha. Here we go, another cutscene. From here onwards, you're on your own. What? Why? He won't allow me in. Okay, don't worry. I'll get you back to normal. Here we go, and we're going through. I like these little cutscenes. They're quite cute. A scary cave. Who's saying a scary cave? I can do this. Oh, that's me, is it? Why
And
do I
that's
look different?
I think that's one of the brothers.
No, that's me doing. I said that.
Are you?
And in we go. Ah.
Huh.
Oh my goodness! It's like a big version of me. Ah.
Oh.
Ah. Get off. Get off.
Oh wow, that.
End.
That's really good.
It's very nice. Right. Okay. So I failed basically. I came across the enormous thing at the end. I lost track of the story. Who was that?
I think that's the evil spirit that took your
Friend.
Yeah, and it looks like you because to make you nervous or something. To make you scared.
Right, okay. Here we go again. Alright, so I'll run through again. I'll try not to die this time. I don't think it's going to work because that thing had 1,000 hit points. Let's start going through the mark scheme.
Yeah.
So first up is information design. So there's some. I've got my health. What I don't have is any kind of signal about what special powers I've got or
just at the previous screen there is like a list of controls, and that's
how you bother to fight these things. So my guess is that there's a dominant strategy to this game, which is just to do this. I can pick up the key. So let's do that. Yeah. So information design is there is some, but I don't think it's not enormously effective. It doesn't tell me. I can't see the health of the enemies, for example. That's a big deal, actually. Apart from the final one. Apart from the final one, it's odd that they've implemented it for the boss, but not for anything else. So yeah, that's a little bit problematic, I think. But there is some. So what would satisfactory be for information design?
Most key information is shown.
What would a pass be?
Some attempt at information design.
Yeah, it feels more like a pass to me. There's some information design, but the health is the only thing that... Well, maybe halfway between the two, because they've got the health thing over the boss at the end, haven't they? So halfway between the two, perhaps. Thanks for the key. For helping me, I'll give you a great piece of advice. Avoid my brothers at the top of the mountain. They're evil.
Okay.
They're evil. They're still evil. Okay.
Yeah.
Does it? Yeah, I would like to press Q. Oh, I meant to check to see if Q worked before I got the cast ability. Oh no, come on, I must be able to... Yep, I want to shoot the piggy. Got him. 2. Oh. Yeah, see, they've got those little dial things as well.
But they don't really...
They don't have anything on them. That's very confusing.
Exactly, yeah. Okay, so...
Get off.
What about graphics-wise?
So, the graphics are fine. We talked about the fact there was some inconsistency. And I don't think they're particularly appealing or anything. But they're okay, they're kind of clear. So if I just avoid him, would you like to acquire the strike ability? See, why am I being given the strike ability even though I didn't help him? I just ignored him. Press E.
Hold E.
Hold E. I have hold E. Oh, you think maybe I could... So I'm holding E. Ah, there we go.
Interesting.
1, 2, 3. Crikey, you've got to hold it for 3. 3 seconds. Let's try it. 1, 2, 3. There you go. 4.
Did it
1,
hit? Yeah.
2, 3. Hello? No. Alright. I'm not convinced about the strike ability. I quite like the fireball.
Yeah.
Sorry, where were we?
Graphics.
So the graphics
Uh,
is a little bit inconsistent and a little bit basic, but clear enough. And elements of it are appealing. Like I like the main character; he's animated nicely, and I like the little fox, even though he doesn't match. So what would a satisfactory be for graphics?
consistent graphics.
No, I don't think it counts as consistent, unfortunately.
So pass would be consistent but poorly chosen graphics.
I don't think they're poorly chosen. Actually, I think the graphics are quite nicely chosen.
And they're very slightly, as you said, inconsistent, just in one or two places,
Yeah.
like the main character.
Yeah. So, okay. So pass is inconsistent and poorly chosen. So I think
poor would be inconsistent. Pass would be consistent but poorly chosen.
Okay. So so probably then halfway between the two of pass and a satisfactory, because the elements we said, they're nicely chosen. They're just a little bit inconsistent.
Yeah.
All right. So our friend abandons us. He won't allow us in. Right. Here we go. Shall I just try and use my fireballs to a scary cave? Right. I can do this. Yeah. Like I said, yeah. Okay. Here we go.
Maybe you have to walk a bit. Oh wow.
Hey, come on.
Oh no, it's.
Oh.
You got
Did I go off to the side or something?
I think you got killed and it restarted you at the. Oh.
Nope.
Now you got killed for.
For reals.
Yeah.
Weird. All right, not quite sure. I think I might.
Is there any audio?
I think I fell off the edge. I think I fell off the edge. But, no, there's no audio at all, unfortunately. So I think it's entirely absent. Yeah, there's nothing, which is a shame.
Yeah, so I suppose that leads us to the mechanics, controls, and bugs.
So mechanics and controls. So the mechanics and the controls are difficult because actually the controls are really not great. The mechanics themselves, there's some stuff going on, right? I can pick up keys. I can obviously walk around. I've got jump and I've got super jump. I've got fireballs. I've got strikes. The problem is the level design doesn't use them at all, right? So the different height jumps that I've got, I don't really understand what's the value in them. The strike and the defense and everything, I just don't quite understand why I need to use them. I mean, maybe they'd be helpful for me in the boss fight. I don't know, but it's yeah. So look, I think there are a set of mechanics. I don't think they go together particularly well, right? Some of them do. I think jumping around the fireball works fine. The strike's a bit strange. It kind of doesn't seem to have any effect because it doesn't knock anything back, I think, is the problem.
Yeah.
So you just end up sort of feeling like you're being mobbed. So what would a satisfactory be for mechanics?
A set of consistent mechanics.
I mean, they are consistent, but they're just not employed well together. So, it just, I don't know. It just doesn't feel like it's a coherent set, I suppose. So what would a pass be?
A pass would be a set of inconsistent mechanics.
And again, they're not entirely inconsistent because they sort of some of them go together very nicely, and others just feel tacked on. So I think halfway between the two, because most of the mechanics are fine, but they don't really go together particularly well. Apart from a few of them, and I don't really need them either. I don't need to do anything really. I can just ignore him. Have I got there? Oh yeah, I can still fire. So I can fire fireballs before I get there. I keep forgetting to try that at the beginning. And I don't need to fire anything. That's the other thing. The level design is such that the mechanics are kind of a bit superfluous, really. Like
Yeah.
even the keys. Like I just not interested. So
I mean,
okay.
I suppose that also connects to the controls themselves.
Yeah, the controls I think are problematic. I think kind of having the space for jump, but using Q and E for special controls, and then having the mouse button. And I've still got a mouse pointer, but it doesn't do anything. That all feels a bit strange. So I don't think they're particularly intuitive. They're not unusable, right? I can clearly navigate around. So yeah, what would a pass be, say?
Few or challenging controls.
Yeah, so I think probably it's there. It's just slightly challenging to use them there.
Yeah.
But, they're serviceable. Okay, so that takes us on to bugs. So the only bugs we found really are the lack of logic in the narrative engine. So the fact that it, the fact that
if you go back,
I go back. I get dialogues in the wrong order. They come up after the creatures have been killed. It's all of that kind of stuff. It's minor bugs. I don't think it seriously affected the game. The thing that really caused us problems at the beginning was not knowing that you had to press R to progress.
So the continue button not working.
The continue button not working. Yeah, that really perplexed us. Why they didn't just say? I think you mentioned this to me. Why did they just say press R? I don't know. They could even have left the button here, right? They could literally have just left that as a press R instead of continue on the button.
That's
it would have been really helpful. But So I think there's a couple of little problems like that. So what would satisfactory be for bugs?
Satisfactory would be game is reasonably complex, but there are minor bugs.
I think it's probably there. I mean, it's not the most complex game in the world, but there are different elements to it. And I think the bugs are minor, really. Oh god, here we go again. Right.
Oh. And that's a lot of health also.
Yeah.
He
was also just sort of stopped. Oh, is that because I'm talking to him? I've got the not clear. Oh no, he's coming again. I rather hoped I was going to get away with it then.
I think
sore. Halfway there.
Almost.
Run away!
Oh no.
I'm going to fall off the edge. No, you're right. It wasn't that.
Just a bit more. I hope. I think you'll do it.
Go on. Yay! Oh, yes, there we go. Stab.
Okay.
Oh, I like that. That's nice. I defeated the evil spirit. Now Jack is free. There's the fox. Why are you still an animal? It didn't work. First form forever. Okay.
And
that's it. That's the end of it. We just sort of... Oh, no. I slide off to the side. For some reason. In horror. No!
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, while I slowly exit stage right... Oh, I'll come back again. So where were we? Were you on bugs still?
I think we decided on satisfactory.
All right. So that takes us on to the story engine.
Yeah.
So does the game affect the story, and does the story affect the game? So does the game affect the story? Is there anything that I do in this game that affects the story that I get? Well, I can pick the keys up or not, and I learn about the three brothers if I do. But that's entirely superfluous to the main story. Right?
Yeah.
So I think that's the problem. I think the interactions all happen around the keys and the brothers.
And maybe you're choosing the ability, but
But I
I'm
get
not
the
sure if
ability
that's...
I get the ability anyway.
Ah,
So I have no choice about that. I just get the ability. So yeah, there's something. So in terms of game and story, if I pick up the key, I get a different dialogue from the brothers, and I learn a bit more about the brothers. The brothers have nothing to do with the main plot and entirely superfluous to the plot, right? But I do learn a bit about them. In terms of story to game, I don't make any narrative decisions, do I?
uh, I
I'm just experiencing a linear story.
I suppose.
Is there anywhere where I make a narrative decision, where I decide to... The only decisions in the whole game are whether or not to pick up the keys,
Hmm.
right?
I s- and I don't know if that counts, but because when you are asked if you want a new ability,
Yeah.
I don't know if you skip the dialogue if you get the ability, or if you have to go through the complete dialogue in order to unlock it.
Well, yeah, okay. But it sort of happens automatically anyway.
Try to press Q now after you,
Yeah, good point.
so we can see
I
if
see what
it's
you mean.
unlocked.
So you're saying that the narrative, that bit of the story, unlocks my Q ability.
Yeah,
All right, let's find out. Yep. So I don't have Q. Q doesn't do anything. You are
and yeah,
right.
so try to then after the first house, it asks you, do you want a new ability? And if you just
Ignore it and run off.
go straight, yeah,
Let's give it a go. Because I think it does just give it to you. I don't think you have any choice really. But you are right that is unlocked by... I mean, you know, it's progress in the story, progress in the narrative, and which one is which is kind of a moot point really. So I'm going to ignore that completely. And... I don't have it. I don't have it. So, alright, you are right. Well done. Okay, so we have found something. And now I don't have my fireball. I'm going to go
so
back.
you do
Can I
have
have
a
my
choice.
fireball now? Please. Fireball. Hello. Could you help me with something? So I wonder whether that fireball ability, that's a bug then, isn't it? So what should be happening is I should only get the fireball ability if I help him. But it's activating anyway. I think. Maybe. Let's give this back to him and see if I get the chance again. Thank you for that. Okay, so let's go through these. So game to story. So the key affects the the narrative I get here. It's a relatively minor effect, but it's there. And going through the dialogue options following this will determine whether... So I have to press R here, and I have to press Q, and now I get the fireball ability. Yes. And that's it. All right, so there are examples each way. Right. But what are they? So what would a pass be, for example?
For game world story?
For game world to story. So game world to story, this is the keys. This is the keys in the dialogue about the brothers.
Yeah, so a few sparse or minor examples of where the game world impacts the story.
That sparse or minor sounds about right, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
What would a poor be?
A poor would be some support for story elements in the game, but the game world has no real impact on the story.
Yeah, I think it does have that one example. So sparse or few, I think, is where we are.
Yeah, and what about story to game world in this case?
So I think that's going to be the same, isn't it?
Yeah.
I've got those occasions where I get the special abilities, or in this case, I've got fireball but nothing otherwise. Yeah, okay. So I think pass for that too.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So that takes us on to structure. So the structure here is slightly weird because it's mainly a linear story, and I don't really get an alternative. I don't get alternative endings. I either kill the boss or I don't, right? But there's no alternative ending based on the narrative.
Yeah,
There's
maybe.
the only things I get are these little split joins around the brothers where I either get the dialogue or the brother I don't.
So I'm looking at what was submitted, and it looks like there are a few different endings.
Right. So how do we get the different endings?
So, for example, let me see. So the win ending would be boss killed, but friend stays in animal form, which we got.
Yep.
So there's if you help the first NPC and lose, the singular NPC goes on the same journey as the protagonist. If you help the second NPC and lose, the NPCs save the protagonist, but you don't save your friend and get away.
Okay. Oh, this is more examples of story affecting the. Okay.
Yeah, if you help 3 NPCs and lose, then the NPCs save the protagonist, but the friend is saved and the boss dies.
Wow. Okay. Well, so all right. Well, seeing it's so hard to kill the boss, let's try and try and do a little run through where I help all 3 of the people and then get killed by the boss and see what happens.
Yeah.
Okay, so that does change things a bit. I don't think that changes the story thing because that's the narrative affecting the narrative, but I think it does affect the structure. You're right. So basically, I've got these three little split joins, and then based on the number of those that I activate, I get an alternative ending at the end. So that looks like a relatively small but reasonable set of alternatives, right? So assuming that this works, so it's going to take me a bit longer because I've actually got to go and talk to them all and do the keys and everything. Let's find it. I didn't. Oh no, that's good. Not good. Let's go and find out. So what would a satisfactory be for the
some
structure?
branching points?
So we've got a. Well, we have got some branching points. We've got a branch at the end, and then we've got the 3 alternative. What would a pass be?
And maybe you also have to get to the end of the dialogue. Maybe. So a pass would be some minor branching points.
I think that's what I might have gone for if it hadn't been for the alternative endings. But because of the alternative endings, I think we can go up to sort of satisfactory.
Yeah. Because that does give you more. And what about the choices? So
the choices I think are a bit more problematic because what choices do I actually have? It's all around the 3 brothers. Do I help the 3 brothers?
And also, I suppose, do you take the ability?
And do I take the ability? But then why would I not take the ability?
Assume you've met
right, and these brothers just all seem to hate each other. But I've got no reason not to help them. Nothing bad happens to me. It's not difficult to help them.
Yeah.
So I think the choices are for helping or not helping them is sort of arbitrary, and for whether or not to take the power up is kind of obvious.
I mean, if you don't take the power up, if you don't take the power up, or if you take the power up, the final boss also has that power. So if you don't take the power up, the final boss doesn't have it. At least that's what it says here.
Okay. Oh, because I had the fireball, so the final boss has the fireball.
Yeah.
Ah.
Although, it's a bit not hard to guess, I suppose.
Oh, my key. Thank you. So okay, so I think the choices are a little bit weird and ambiguous. What would a satisfactory be?
Satisfactory, some interesting choices. Defense ability.
I don't know if we have some interesting choices. I think kind of. What would a pass be?
Few interesting choices.
I think that's kind of where we are.
Yeah.
Well, the choices
Try
I've
to
got.
die now to the.
So if I die, that shouldn't be a problem.
Supposedly, should be all three brothers come and save you.
So help the brothers. Scary cave. I can do this. Well, let's find out. Hello, you. The end.
Okay.
Wallop.
Is that?
Nope, that's it.
Ah.
No difference. Can't move. I can still fireball. I can't jump. Okay, so actually I didn't get an ending. Right? So, so this is difficult. I think if it was working, right, then I would say going back to the structure. I think if it was working, we said the structure was satisfactory, right?
Yeah.
But because it isn't working, I think we have to judge it on what we've actually got.
Yeah.
So I think it's actually back to a pass.
Pass, which is some minor points.
Some minor branching points, which is to run the dialogue of the brothers. And then for the choices element, what we said a pass for that as well, didn't we? So we said they were kind of...
Yeah,
I think. Yeah.
A few interesting choices.
So now let's think about the poetics. I'm guessing from their description that what they've gone for is what was it? Which one was it? Not the
the one with the tortoise and the eagle, maybe.
The tortoise and the eagle. That was it, because that one is the one which is the
if you get more power, or if.
That was it. Yeah.
Be careful what you wish
if
for.
men had all they wish, they would often be ruined.
Yeah.
So they've tried to do that with the powers, and you can get the powers, and then the boss has those powers at the end, and it kind of reflects it back on you. So that's presumably what they've done. So I like the fact they tried to incorporate it into the game. It doesn't feel successful though, and I think the reason for that is, first of all, the powers don't actually seem to be much use, because there's no advantage in killing anything anyway. And they don't stop me going through the game. So again, I think the level designs let them down a little bit. Second of all, it's not obvious why the boss has those things at the end, right?
Yeah.
I kind of I hadn't even noticed that he had those powers based on what I got. Right? You had to tell me. So I think that's problematic. So for poetics, satisfactory would be that they don't conflict, but don't really have anything to do with each other, isn't it?
Not interfere, but the key mechanics have little to do with the themes of the story.
Yeah. So yeah. I think maybe it's slightly better than that, because they've tried to stitch it together. So what would a good be?
Narrative and gameplay complement one another, as the key mechanics are in keeping with the themes of the story.
Yeah, I think they're aiming for that, but they haven't quite got there. I think put them halfway between the two. I do appreciate what they've tried to do, and it's actually not a bad idea at all. But I think the problem is that they don't really. The game feels a little inconsequential, because they don't really help you on your path there. And then you don't really notice that that's the consequence at the end. I'm going to help just the first two, and I'm going to ignore the next one and see if that gives me an alternative ending. So yeah, maybe halfway between the two for that. That would be a reasonable place to be.
And pacing? So
pacing, well, I've got a boss fight at the end. I think I've got ascending... I haven't really got... I've got flat pacing with a boss fight at the end, I think is what I've got.
Kinda, yeah.
So I think isn't flat pacing a pass?
Yeah, so pacing unclear or flat would be a pass.
And then with a final peak would be a good, wouldn't it?
A good would be ascending pacing with a clear final peak, yeah.
Yeah, so what I've got is flat pacing with a clear final peak.
So satisfactory?
Well, although even the clear final peak is a mechanical thing rather than anything else. But
yeah.
So I reckon satisfactory.
Yeah, in between.
I think there's an argument that it's actually a little bit lower than that. But let's go with satisfactory, because again they've clearly tried to build that in here.
Yeah.
Right.
And
let's see what happens when I get defeated now. So then it takes us on to techniques. So techniques.
Which we do have.
We've got some nice ones actually. We've got the little dialogues that pop up. We've got the cutscenes. They appear multiple times. So yeah, I reckon. So what would good be for techniques?
Use of more than one game writing technique.
Yeah, I think they're good.
Yeah, and just to see an excellent, in this case, would be appropriate and consistent use of more than one. And
well, yes or no. There's some. Right, anything happen now?
No, that's sad.
No, and I stand up again.
Yeah.
So you're right actually. So appropriate and consistent use. So I've got the appropriate.
So there's consistently throughout the game.
Yeah, they're consistent. I use the dialogue. I encounter the people. Dialogue's a little bit broken, but yes.
And the cutscenes as well, like right now.
Yeah,
that was a cutscene.
A little bit broken, but yeah. I think that's probably why good feels more appropriate, right?
Yeah.
But maybe put them halfway between the two, because they have used the cutscenes really nicely. They've got the little animations going on there. They've got kind of the dialogue at the same time. So yeah, go on halfway between the two. I think just to reflect the way they've used it consistently, and the fact they've topped and tailed it with cutscenes in a really nice way.
Yeah. And the final one would be the feedback that we've given them.
So what did they say for feedback?
Let me see. So the feedback given pertains to the story. More specifically, I was advised to have a greater sense of urgency. To do this, I made it so that the friend in animal form is the person giving the protagonist abilities, but every time the ability is learned, the friend is further consumed by the evil spirit. This can be seen in dialogue interactions between the friend and the protagonist. And that's mostly it.
I just think it's lost a little bit in the execution. It makes sense. I can see what they were trying to do, but it doesn't quite come across. What would a satisfactory be for feedback?
Feedback was addressed, and the changes have been somewhat successful.
Yeah, I think we can go for that. Yeah. I mean, we haven't said it, but it's worth saying this game I think is the work of a single person, which probably explains why we have a small set of levels and things, and I think also gives me a little bit more faith that when we've given the benefit of the doubt, that was a reasonable thing to do. But again, so a good attempt, I think. I kind of just didn't quite get there. It didn't quite manage to pull off some of the things they were trying to do in their design, and it may be that limitation was a problem because they couldn't build up the levels to demonstrate the abilities. But a bit more signposting, I think, of what was going on would have probably helped a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go and have a look at our next game. So our last game is called Bear Chase. So again, I wonder which one this is. Two men were travelling together when a bear suddenly met them on their path. They both ran, but can they escape the bear together? Alright, nice little... How will you escape the bear? Click on objects to interact with them. Okay. That's a giant bear.
Wow.
Gee whiz. Alright, can I... Oh my goodness.
What?
Hey?
Interesting.
Oh, so I can't move. I click.
Uh, can
I'm
you?
very confused. Oh, look at that texture. Where's the bear?
I think
Go
it's.
backwards? Left or right? Head towards the village where the presence of others offers safety. Head deeper to spare the villagers from the bear. Let's go right. Okay. Where's the bear? Why am I clicking? Why is it a squirrel? Carrot. Chicken. There's a roast chicken. Plant. A barrel of stuff that got knocked off for some reason. Oh my god, it's a bear.
Oh.
It's a bear.
I
think I've died. Oh no, I'm still going.
Or maybe not.
I can't go forward.
Can you click on the bear?
Hello, bear. I mean, I love the bear. The bear's great.
Yeah.
But does it say anything in their notes? Oh, the bear's gone now.
The player will have to make decisions throughout the game that will affect how they go. Depending on the player's choice, the game's conclusion might take a number of different forms. It doesn't.
No, I mean, I'm stuck. I can run between this barrel and this pot of honey, but that's
Yeah,
it.
you probably have to.
I've got no. See, when it started, I thought it was like an equivalent. I was expecting a sort of endless runner, but being chased by a bear. And I thought, oh, that kind of might be exciting. So I've not seen one of those so far. But no, nothing. Yeah, all right. I'll reload it and we'll try going the other way. And then if we get really stuck, we might have to have a look at the Unity project. Two men were travelling together when a bear suddenly met them on their path. They both ran. Can they escape the bear together? How will you escape the bear? Click on objects to interact with them. Also, my friend died straight away for...
You have to be fast, probably.
Well, do we? Not entirely sure. Let's go left. Deeper into the forest. The bear seems to have disappeared. So my clicking on objects seems to be... I'm sort of stuck now. I can go across there. Is there some... And there's a... Oh!
Bridge?
Okay, there's a bridge, but... I'm clicking. Oh, there's a bear. Oh, am I supposed to go this way? Am I going down the path? Bro. Oh! I clicked on him and he died.
Yeah, I think that's what happens.
Why does he die when I click on him?
You push him or something. Sacrifice him, maybe.
You and your friend both get mauled by the bear. Maybe trying to do the right thing was the wrong decision. Okay. I think that might be the end.
Yeah.
So the other way, do you think I won? Do you think I got to the end and it just didn't fire up the old...
Maybe.
So I think we should have a little look at the project file. So we'll pause our video, have an explore, and then we'll come back to this in a second. Okay, so we've taken a look at the project file. It doesn't play any differently in the project file, but it's helped us understand a little bit about what's supposed to be going on. We've sort of looked at the logic of it. So basically what seems to happen is that these different objects have different effects on the bear. So some of them will cause the bear to be delayed and some of them won't. And if I click on my friend, I push him over and then the bear eats him, which gives me a bit more time. So let me try and do this. If I go up here, so I'm hoping that a ham is the sort of thing that would delay a bear. Yeah, there you go. The bear's got stuck on the ham, look. So I come up here. I'm presuming he doesn't like radishes. Whole hog, probably good for the bear. And then I think if I go right, there's supposed to be a cutscene system. And we saw one of those, didn't we, when the bear comes up. But it doesn't seem to work on this one. So I get to the end of this, and there's a bug. And I think what should be happening is that I should somehow be getting some cutscene that comes up. And I'm guessing that the bear, there we go. Like this. You and your friends both get mauled by the bear. But the good cutscene where we escape doesn't appear to work.
Yeah, exactly.
So that seems to work. So that's ended my run through. So that was if I went right. And if I go left. So the other thing we noticed is I think if I click around here somewhere, can I get my friend? When we played it in Unity, I could click on my friend and murder them. In fact, let's murder my friend, shall we, and see if that helps. Click on objects to interact with them. Oh, there we go. I think I got him.
Huh.
There we go. I clicked on him. So the bear will stop and eat him.
A bit, maybe.
Oh, doesn't seem to have stopped.
Maybe because you did it in the cutscene and some time already passed.
Maybe. So which way do I go last? So if I go left,
yeah.
So I get to the bridge. Oh, is this the? Oh, hang on a minute. That's the wrong thing, isn't it?
No, the bridge is after...
the bridge. Oh,
yeah, it's here.
There we go. At the end. So I get to the end of here. This is very strange, but I still think I have to come this way. Even though oh no, I got eaten by a bear. Yeah. So basically, I just got to run around and get eaten by a bear. So I can see what they were trying to do. They were trying to make a game that's actually it looks like an endless runner, but it's actually like a sort of a turn-based puzzle where you have to figure out what the thing is to get the bear, and you can sacrifice your friend. And then when we looked at the endings, it looked like you had essentially 4 different endings to send it depending on which direction you went and whether or not you'd killed your friend. Right? No, they're not activating. We're always basically getting mauled to death by a bear, but that's the intention. So okay, so let's go through the mark scheme and see what we make of it. All right.
Yeah.
Starting, I guess, with the information design. So, what information is there? Well, there is information in the game. There's how far away the bear is behind me. There is how the different objects will delay the bear, right? The problem I've got is I can see the bear here, but if the bear falls behind, he goes off camera and I can't see him anymore. Oh, I both got eaten by a friend. Went to a berry. I don't think that worked.
Yeah.
So in terms of the objects, I can sort of see what they're trying to do, because they obviously don't want to just have a number floating above the object, because you just pick the object with the biggest number. But at the same time, it's not obvious what the relationship is, and because you can't see what the impact on the bear is, you can't learn it, right? So you'd have thought if there was something where I could see more effectively what was actually going on. Yeah, I might be okay, but yeah. So I presume the bear doesn't want a carrot, but so all right, let's try going left again and see if I can get to the end this time. Still got my friend with me, so down we go. So yeah, each time I'm making a choice effectively, and I've got 2 different choices. I still think I've got to go. There's the bear. But I'm not entirely sure that the physical appearance of the bear has any relationship, if you see what I mean, with how close the bear actually is to me.
Yeah.
This is strange as well. I wonder whether It's something to do with my screen ratio compared to the ratio of the screen they tested it on.
Ah.
So I can't click down the bottom here. Things are just off site, but I really don't think I can at this point. Let's push them over. There you go. That's disappeared now. Yeah. So, yeah, it's quite peculiar. So, all right. So, in terms of information design, I'm getting some very oblique information about the things, just because they're is it a ham hock, is it a radish, right? That's it, but that's it. There's no other information. So what would a pass be for information design?
A pass would be some attempt at information design.
Yeah, and what would a poor be?
Information design is not sufficient.
And I think that's probably where we are, right? I can't. The bear isn't really. The position of the bear doesn't accurately reflect its kind of chasing distance from me.
Yeah, it's strange.
I've got no sense of what these objects are doing. I can't tell. Yeah, there's not much going on, right? So yeah, so I think we're kind of it's got to be poor. I think information design.
What about graphics?
Graphics and audio. Graphics is interesting. There's some nice bits. I think the animated bear is great. I love him, and actually the little running figure is fine as well. But it's all a bit rough around the edges. Like these edges here are very sharp. This bridge, I can sort of see the edges of the textures. So it just feels like it's not. I mean, obviously it's not quite finished, and that's the problem. So what would a pass be again for graphics?
Consistent but poorly chosen graphics.
And what would a poor be?
Inconsistent graphics.
It's sort of inconsistent in places, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's going to be a pass probably, because some of the graphics are probably at the satisfactory level, but some of them are at the poor level, I think.
Yeah, and then it evens out.
And then it evens out. And probably we might even be a similar place for music. There are a few audio effects, though they don't seem to be linked to anything sensible. The bear just occasionally roars. I got the sound. I got the sound of the water.
When you push your friend as well.
Oh yeah,
sound effect.
Yeah, there's a sound effect there, and there was some music. It stopped now, but I think the game has sort of got itself in a pickle.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I think I can't. There is some. So again, what would a pass be for audio?
Pass would be some audio effects or music.
And what would a satisfactory be?
Both. So some audio effects and music.
So I think the problem I've got, so it does have both, which I think would normally be a satisfactory, right?
Yeah.
But the problem is that it sounds to me like the music has just run out and stopped, right? And the audio effects don't seem to be linked to anything sensible. They're not telling me anything. So for that reason, I think it's probably a pass for audio as well.
Yeah.
It has the elements, but they're just all over the place. So I guess that takes us to mechanics, controls, and bugs. So mechanics. So the only mechanic I've got is to click on either an object, which adds a delay to the bear. I was trying to start this again because this bear he's got confused. Yeah. So I either click on the bear, in which case, sorry, not the bear. I either click on the object, in which case it delays the bear, or I click on my brother, in which case I shove him over so the bear can eat him. Incidentally, it's very, very easy to click on your brother by mistake. Because I'm clicking all over the place. So mechanically, that's it. There really isn't much else, right? What would a pass be?
A a set of inconsistent mechanics, and I don't think we
I don't think we have got a
have a
set.
set.
No. So what would poor
Uh,
be?
Few mechanics.
And what would an absent be?
Very limited mechanics.
So I think we've got very limited mechanics.
I mean, yeah, it's
Maybe
just the clicking.
it's just the clicking, right? And it doesn't. Yeah, it's difficult because all those other elements aren't working well. So with the feedback and things, I don't really know what's going on. But yeah, I mean, really, I can all I can do is click on an object or click on my brother, and that's it. So I mean, maybe that was absent, wasn't it? Was very few, or was that poor?
Yeah, it's absent.
Maybe halfway between
very
absent,
limited.
halfway between absent and poor. Right.
Yeah. And controls.
Controls. I mean,
And
it's very finicky. It's very easy to accidentally kill your brother. And it also doesn't feel very responsive. So yeah, I don't think the controls are particularly great. Again, what would a pass be?
few or challenging controls.
I think it's. Yeah, I think it might even go beyond challenging. What would a poor be?
Limited or difficult controls.
So I think what we have here is limited and slightly difficult, actually. But yeah, let's go with poor. Let's go with poor. So okay, and then bugs, and we've definitely got some bugs. We've got lots of little bugs. You know, that the bears run off now. The movement of the bear doesn't seem to work properly. The screen resolution, you know, some of the stuff actually is off the screen, so I can't click on it. The end states don't appear to activate properly either. So I think we've got some pretty significant problems. What would a pass be for bugs?
Pass would be game is simple or there are serious bugs.
So, well, there are serious bugs. What would a poor be?
Game is very simple or serious bugs make it almost unplayable.
I mean, the game is simple. And it's got those bugs. I'd say it's not quite very simple, but the bugs do cause substantial problems. I think those two things together, the simplicity of the game and the severity of the bugs and the problems, also put it at the poor level.
Yeah. I mean, an absent would be game does not run, and at least, I mean, it does run.
It runs, yeah. It
Yeah.
runs, yeah. Okay, so that takes us on to the story engine. So this is decisions you make in the game, do they affect the story world, and decisions you make in the story world, do they affect the game? For game to story, you are making decisions which affect where the bear is, but it doesn't affect the story engine, right? As far as I can tell, there is no story engine, right? What I've got is a premise. I'm running away from the bear, and then
Yeah, and
the one thing I guess is if I push my brother over, right? But we haven't seen that because it's broken. But we think it should be giving us an action, right? It should be affecting the story. So if I push my brother over, we think that should affect the story that pops up at the end, right?
yeah,
Otherwise, it's just a decision about which way I go in the game, and that's purely a mechanical decision. So, game world to story, I think there is a tiny element which is in here, but it's broken. So what would a pass be for game to story?
a few sparse or minor examples of where the game world impacts the story.
I think it's less than that. So, what would a poor be?
Some support for story elements in the game, but the game world has no real impact on the story.
Yeah. So
Mm.
so the problem is there's not really any support for story elements in the game either, other than the premise popping up at the beginning. But there is that one occasion. What would absent be?
Absent would be a story premise, but no serious attempt at integrating the game with the story.
So I think they've made some attempt to make the game world affect the story, right? So I think
Yeah.
for game to story we come up from that and it's a poor. For story to game, there are no story decisions in this at all.
I suppose not.
You get the choice of whether to go left or right. You could argue that that's a story decision, but it's flat. There's no reason behind it. There's no... Yeah. So the two choices you get are, do you push your brother over, do you go left or right? Right? And you're given no support for either of those things. And the decision to go left to right is essentially just a mechanical decision because of that. Oh no, that's not true actually, is there? No, you're given the signpost.
Yeah,
I'm
he does
misremembering.
say.
Let's have a look. So that is some story elements there, and that is, I presume, going to affect your decision. So let's remind ourselves what it says. So I'm wondering whether story to game is going to be a similar issue.
Yeah, maybe.
Because I was about to suggest it was absent, that there was no kind of effort to do it, but so I think the bear likes honey, so I'll go up with the honey route.
Yeah, and
So here we
then I
go.
think
So here we go. So yeah, head towards the village where the presence of others offers safety for you, or head deeper into the forest to spare the villagers from the bear. So we are given a story reason for going left or right. So you can argue. So I think that is a place where it has a minimal impact, but it's yeah. So what would a poor be for story to game?
some support for story elements in the game, but the story has no real impact on the game world.
What would a pass be?
Pass would be a few sparse or minor examples of where the story impacts the game world, and I don't think we have a few.
No, we don't.
Or
Really. I think we're going to have to go with the poor level again for that reason. This is the only place, right? And it's purely because we've got this flavor text. If this wasn't here, right, it would now just be a random decision, and there would be no narrative support at all. So
yeah.
So that takes us on to agency and structure. We've got very simple structure. I've got one choice plus this kind of thing about do I kill my brother or not,
Yeah.
and that's it. So again, what would a pass be for structure?
Some minor branching points.
So there's one, plus I guess the brother. And what would a poor be?
Poor would be few minor branching points.
Yeah, I think it's there.
Few minor.
I mean, I think I would interpret minor as not being kind of not being minor in the case of the decision that you're making. You know, do I kill my brother or not? But minor in terms of its impact on the game, the kind of and its position in the story, right? And I've just got it's just essentially got a big fork, and that's it. So yeah, I think poor again. And then choices. I mean, it's crude. I like what they've tried to do with the path, right? I like the fact they've said this way there's more safety, but you've got the villagers, and they may come to harm's way. So they're kind of setting you up to make a decision. So they've tried to make it a choice. The killing your brother thing, I think, I don't know about that. you're not. It's never. It's not explained to you. So because it's not explained to you, it doesn't necessarily become a choice.
Exactly.
So okay. What would a pass be for choices?
A few interesting choices.
Okay, and what would a poor be for choices?
A few interesting choices. Player agency is problematic.
Yeah, I think we might be sort of there, aren't we? What would absence be?
A story with no choices of consequence.
Yeah, so I think it's a poor again, isn't it? Because we've got some choices. They do have some consequence, but there's not many of them, and your agency is very suspect. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that takes us on to poetics.
Yeah.
So, do they say which
Story
they're going with?
Doesn't look like it.
I'm guessing it's the Bear and the Two Travellers. Misfortune tests the sincerity of friends. The choice to whether or not to sacrifice your brother does kind of work in that context, right? It just needed to be
made clear.
Made a bit clearer and maybe a bit more integrated. It's the fact is you've got this one. It's because it's the granularity of it's too much as well, isn't it? It's like this one major choice you've got, right? It just feels to me that if you were, if you had a game that's a bit more like, I don't know, like a Lemmings type game, where you've got many characters you're controlling and you can sacrifice. If you had a little group of 10 people, right, and you could sacrifice one or two or three of them at different points in the game to help you carry on, that would feel like it was a bit more integrated. But it's not explained. It's not set up. It's one major thing that happens. It's then not clear what it does, and the endings. They're supposed to refer to it, but they don't. What we've got in front of us doesn't do that. So all of that makes it quite problematic. But that said, I mean, what would a pass be for poetics, for example?
Narrative and gameplay have some conflict. Some of the mechanics go against the themes of the story.
So the problem here is because the game is not working very well. It's hard to say. What happens when you get down to sort of a poor or an absent for poetics?
Yeah. So for example, poor would be narrative and gameplay are in conflict. The key mechanics are opposed to the themes of the story, or the themes of the story are unclear, or mechanics are very simple.
Right, so that's why I wondered. So the mark scheme basically says, look, if the mechanics are really trivial, right, then you're down at that sort of level. I don't think it's completely absent because you've got again the pushing over your brother thing. That's there. So maybe again, and maybe it's at the poor level again rather than absent because they've tried to do something and have that linked in.
Yeah, I think that's there. And then pacing.
So again, what we're looking for is something that gets rising pacing. The problem we've got here is it almost the other way round, right? Because as you go through the game, the bear gets further and further behind. So actually there's most tension at the beginning and there's no tension at the end.
I suppose, yeah, you're actually right.
Because of the way it's structured, and there's no kind of negative feedback thing, or there's no resetting of the bear at different places that would then give you another peak later on, right? So that would work if, for example, so let's say the bear starts off behind us, and the bear is 20 meters behind us, and we can see that, and then it gets further and further behind us as we successfully navigate the first level, and then we go to the second level. Right, and my brother trips, right? So I pick him up and we start off again, but now the bear's right on our tail. But instead of being 20 meters behind us, it's 5 meters behind us, right? So now, so there you've got kind of descending pacing through the level, but it peaks again and it's higher than it was at the beginning. So at least the peaks are going up. But the way this is, it just goes the opposite way. So what would a pass be for pacing?
A pass would be Pacing unclear or flat.
So I think it's worse. I think it's worse than that because I think it goes down. So what would poor be?
Y- No serious attempt to control pacing.
Uh,
Oh, and absent would be actually descending pacing.
yeah. So I think it's got descending pacing. Unfortunately,
Mm.
yeah. Just the way that it's
Yeah,
worked
yeah,
out.
it starts, yeah.
Yeah. Now techniques is interesting. I think it's a little bit better because they've got. Well, let's start off again so we can see it in action. So techniques, we've got a starting screen. Right, we've got this thing comes up. This is quite nice, and the music is quite nice at this point as well. So yeah, I thought this set the scene quite nicely.
Yeah.
So they've got this. They've also got we probably won't get it to come up now, but they've got the end screen that pops up when you get eaten by a bear. It comes up. So they're telling it in at least two different ways. There's not many occurrences of it, but there's two different methods. So what would a pass be for?
Pass would be partially successful attempt to use at least one game writing technique.
Yeah, and what would a satisfactory be?
Use of at least one game writing technique.
So kind of successful use. And what would a good be?
A use of more than one game writing technique.
So the problem is I think they have used more than one game writing technique, but I don't think they've been particularly successful, right?
Yeah.
Because it sort of just bookends the game, really. So it's not. So yeah, it feels like certainly the good I don't think is merited. But I think maybe you could argue a satisfactory. Yeah.
Yeah, at least one.
They've got at least one. So I think what I'm getting at is the past was kind of saying that it's problematic how they've used it. The good is saying they've used more than one, and what they've got two, but it's problematic how they've used them. So again, maybe we have to kind of interpret it that way, and so perhaps satisfactory for the techniques.
Yeah.
And what did they say for their feedback?
Okay, let's see. So, during the feedback lab, we were told to ensure that narrative was a prominent part of gameplay. Through the player's choice of path and interactions, they will achieve one of a number of possible endings. In addition, we were given the suggestion of being able to trip up the player's friend. We implemented this idea, and this decision will greatly impact the game's ending.
Yeah, okay. And all right. So I mean, it sort of does. It's half of the decisions in the game, right?
Yeah.
I think it's still fairly clumsily implemented, and it's not clear what it does, but it's there. Was there any other feedback?
That's everything.
Okay, so that's all they put. So what would a pass be for feedback?
Feedback was addressed, but the changes have had limited success.
And what would a poor be for feedback?
Feedback was not addressed well, although some other positive changes have been made.
I think maybe halfway between poor and a pass, because they have implemented the feedback, but has it been addressed well? Hasn't really been addressed well, has it? I mean, they're kind of they've addressed it, but they've just added it in. It's not clear what it does. It's not framed. No, I think it probably has to be a poor.
Yeah, that's the thing, because the narrative was a prominent part of gameplay, and it's, as we said earlier, kind of hard to notice that.
Yeah. So okay, so look, I mean, this looks to me like a game where they've run out of time to complete it. Perhaps they spent too much time getting a cool animated bear, because I love their bear.
Yeah.
And actually, there's some ideas here that could have worked, right? I think making it kind of a turn-based thing is possibly a bit of a mistake. It would have probably been much more fun as an endless runner where you're being chased by a bear. But but the bones of something are here. It's just they've clearly run out of time to execute it, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that was our last game. So we will see you in the next video.